titles, the greatest college football coach of all time, say, you know what, I'm done. Dude, like, that's insane. Like, we always joke things happen in threes or whatever. Like, we're talking about, I mean, I understand Pete Carroll's not on the level of Nick Saban, but still, Pete Carroll's
one of 3 coaches ever to win a national championship in college and a Super Bowl.
But Pete Carroll, Nick Saban, and Belichick, I mean, those are huge names to all either call it quits or at least find other opportunities.
Yeah, and so Pete Carroll could still find another opportunity. By the way, for all the people in the text are like, he didn't get fired. Listen to his comments yesterday and tell me his ass didn't get fired.
Yeah, he wanted to coach.
He said, I can still coach. I tried. I fought for my job. Okay, so yeah, got it. He got fired. He wanted to still be the coach of the Seahawks. They didn't want him to be the coach of the Seahawks anymore. And then they amicably parted ways. It was a wild, because like Vrabel was surprising. Pete Carroll was even more surprising because he was talking about keeping the job. And then back-to-back, we kind of thought Belichick. That one didn't shock me.
No,
but
Saban,
it's still a lot to see that after 24 years with one organization, Bill Belichick, the winningest coach in NFL history, is with a different team. And then, yeah, Saban, one of the most decorated college football coaches of all time, and a former Dolphins head coach, by the way, for what, like 13 games? How many games did he coach for them? Like 20? He quit halfway through the second year, I think, right? He was like halfway through the second year when he took the Alabama job?
15 and 17.
Okay, 22 games. Got most of the way through that second year before he quit the job. Let's not talk about his NFL career because that's obviously not made it. I think a lot of people tried to make the Saban thing about NIL. Isn't this just because he's 71? Dude, he's 71 years old. Isn't it just as simple as that necessarily?
I mean, it's obviously possible. I mean, none of us know the direct answer to that question. I tend to believe it is a little bit of both, right? If we're being honest. I think, yeah, naturally you get to 71, 72 years old. That's always going to be a question. But man, he was still putting together a masterful coaching job this particular year at Alabama when you consider where they were the first 3-4 weeks of the season and then where they ended up, which was still making the college football playoff when we still only had 4 teams, not this expanded 12. I'm sure age, I mean, that's a ton of work for anybody, let alone somebody in your 70s. You talk about the recruiting and
yeah, I wouldn't want to do it at 71 years old. Although he was at work at 8 a.m. this morning, but like a lunatic. He just quit.
But I will say, I think NIL and conference realignment absolutely has played somewhat of a role, Cody. Like, I mean, how many times do you want to change? I mean, think about everything that's happened in the 20-plus years that he's been the coach there. Or 17 years or whatever it was for Saban. I was thinking 20-something with Belichick. 17 or so for Nick Saban. I mean, that's a lot. And now you have the SEC growing. You're adding Texas and Oklahoma. The NIL landscape. I think a lot of that has driven. I mean, we can have a broader conversation. It's not just what's going on now. Let's expand it out the last 4 years, even in college basketball, where Roy Williams and Jay Wright and Coach K. And I think NIL has contributed, along with age. I'm not saying Roy Williams and Coach K weren't also getting up there in age. It's definitely part of the equation. But Jay Wright was not that old, okay?
Yeah.
And I do think there's something to, look, NIL, do I want to really go through this mess? This is, a young man's game, if you will. Like, I do think there's some truth to that.
I think in this, I'm not saying in every case, right? If we're just broadly generalizing, yeah. I do think NIL has forced a lot of people out of the sport who don't want to do it. That's also what interests me about the people who might replace Saban, because obviously, who is the next head coach at Alabama is a bigger deal than who's the next head coach at the Patriots. Like, it sucks to follow Bill Belichick.
It's much more of a trickle-down effect, yeah.
Yeah, because, well, let's just say, for instance, the current betting offshore favorite to get the Alabama job is Dan Lanning, who has a pretty good job at Oregon. So if he takes the job at Alabama, it's like the worst version of White Elephant, where every school gets picked off until one team finally just decides to settle on, like, the OC. Fine, I'll keep the potholders so we can end this thing from going. Because if Dan Lanning takes the Oregon job, then Oregon's probably going to want a new good head coach to keep all their recruits. And then this guy down and everyone in between. And following Saban in Alabama seems like, a complete nightmare. What do you have, 6 national championships during that time?
Yeah, 6 at Bama, 7 overall in his career. And I think, anytime a major job opens up, you have a coaching carousel. I mean, what you described doesn't happen all that often, but if a Michigan job opens up, the same thing applies. And Ohio State, same thing applies, where it impacts 3-4 other jobs as well. And that will be interesting. And there's the transfer portal, which we know is, they already lost 17 players at Alabama transfer portal, and now the window opens back up for those players. And depending on who they hire, some more players may choose to leave. But then also, let's say it's Dan Lanning, then do some Oregon players want to head back down to Alabama eventually. Like, there is a major trickle down, and that's what's fascinating about this, and it just has huge ramifications. But I do believe when we're talking about like the next year impact in the SEC, where now Texas and Oklahoma are there, that was already going to be different. If you're a school like I keep saying, like if you're a school like Missouri, where next year is setting up to be kind of a big year, and expectations are that maybe you do make the college football playoff, and your schedule is very nice. Like, this is significant news for you if you're Eli Drinkwitz, not just from a recruiting angle, but you have Bama on the schedule next year. I'm just saying, like, I don't think...
It's easier no matter who it is if it's not Nick Saban.
I'm not telling you Bama's only winning 5 games next year. No, but are they going to be as good without Nick Saban? It's a very fair question, no matter who they hire.
You could argue a spot in the SEC title game is open, potentially now, because a lot of people, I think, going into it in no divisions thought, okay, Alabama, Georgia, probably the favorites. Maybe Texas is in there as well. All of a sudden, it opens the door potentially. Not that it would happen, but Missouri could go 10-2 and make the SEC title game, and that would lock you in, obviously, to the.
I would like that. I know that stuns you to hear. Stuns you to have me say that as a KU grad, but I would love that as someone that bet them at 50-1 to win the title next year, and it's already down to 30-1.
Yeah, that would be beneficial for you. The reason, to me,
I don't think they're winning the title, but I get your point.
I can hedge. That's all I need. I don't need them to win the title.
It is interesting. Alabama said they've requested the players can do whatever they want technically, but Alabama has asked them to wait 72 hours before entering the portal because they are wanting to. Like we could have it today.
Do you know what my response would be to that as a player?
Quick.
Do you know what my response would be to that if I was a player? No. How about that? How about no? Did you give me 72 hours notice? Hey, when I committed to you, did you give me any kind of notice that head coach Nick Saban might not be the coach anymore?
The staff didn't even get a warning.
Well, then cool. I'm leaving. I'm telling you right now, if I were a player, there is no way on earth I'm honoring that 72 hours. If I want to stay at Alabama and I'm fine with Dan Lanning or one of these other guys, fine. But if I'm like, no, I was only coming here to play for Nick Saban's Alabama, then leave. You do not owe them anything in this 72-hour hold, as you were not warned about the possibility of the head coach of the university leaving when you took the part. This is why I like, by the way, the transfer portal and all this stuff is, think about all these kids before where they have to like sit out a year. 10 years ago, they got to like sit out a year because Nick Saban left right after he convinced you. He sat in your living room and convinced you to commit to Alabama. That's no way to, that's not fair. If he can leave, then I should be able to have a little freedom there.
I don't think, like, I don't buy I know it contributed, but I don't buy the portal and NIL is the reason why he's leaving, because the portal's been here for a while, actually. He's won a title while in the portal era. I think it's contributed to part of it, and there was somebody who said he's complained about NIL, that's why he's leaving. Kirby Smart's complained about NIL. He's not leaving. Chip Kelly's complained about NIL. He's not leaving. There's other coaches who have complained about it.
Dabo said he quit.
There is
football,
the one thing about
great.
Coach Saban, I think the reason why he complains and talks about it is because his life has been college football, essentially, that he cares so much about the sport. He looks after the sport in general, not I'm whining because I'm at Alabama, and obviously my situation is better than most.
I think that's very fair. Yeah, he kind of like Belichick to a certain extent, and we know they're friends, but just how they talk about the game. Like, they're both truly they appreciate the history.
Stewards of the game, is that what you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the right word. I think there's truth to that. However, I think when you are 71 or 72 years old,
it does wear
and
on
you've gone through so much change, there probably does get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm not adjusting again. And I do think it's one of many factors, perhaps, on why someone like Nick Saban would say, you know what, I'm done. I mean, think about everything that has changed since he's been the head coach there. And obviously, again, I don't think there's any debate. He is the greatest college football coach, not in our life, like ever. He is the greatest college football coach. It's unbelievable what he did at Alabama. And again, let's not forget, he won a national championship at LSU on top of it prior to that. But it's just fascinating to see. I mean, somebody was mentioning, I can't remember what national reporter, I think maybe it was Jeff Goodman. He's like, this isn't stunning. Like, well, anytime a legendary coach retires, it is stunning. I'm sorry, it is stunning. And so that, to me, doesn't matter in this scenario of like, oh, did you think it was coming? Or like, well, we knew he wasn't coaching for 10 more years. It doesn't mean that when he retires, whether it's this year, next year, it'll be stunning. When Andy Reid eventually retires, whether it's in 3 years or 8 years, it'll still be stunning. I mean, when you talk about figures like that retiring, it is stunning news.
Well, that's why Bill Belichick this morning, obviously out. His press conference is scheduled for 11 o'clock. If there are cuts out of there, we'll certainly bring them to you because, the Carroll, who's another legendary coach, followed by a bigger legend in Nick Saban, and then maybe the greatest NFL head coach of all time. Congrats, Bill Belichick. Also changing gears.
Yeah, someone said Pete Carroll was like Farrah Fawcett yesterday, just in terms of like the
Poor guy.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, this was like, I don't think he meant it to be his day, but like, man, all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, by the way, that Pete Carroll guy retired too.
Pete Carroll guy. You know, no big deal. Just one of 3 coaches ever to win a college national championship and a Super Bowl trophy, and just spent the last 15 years in. It's fine. Bill's really interesting because the reporting on him, the first thing this morning, is exactly how I feel about Bill, which is not every team's going to line up to get Bill Belichick. And part of you is like, excuse me? Because if this were the other way around, if Nick Saban wasn't leaving Alabama, he just said, hey, I'll come coach at anybody's school who wants me, there'd be 40, I mean, every school. Just literally every school.
Yeah, however many Division I football
I
programs,
don't know how many there
that's
are.
the number.
They'd
Yeah.
all fire their coach to take on Nick Saban. Just every single one of them would fire their coach. They'd be like, Ryan Day, nice seeing you. Bye-bye. Right? They just all fire it. In Bill Belichick's case, I don't disagree. If he wants to be the general manager, he would be like 4th on my head coach want list. And I know that sounds crazy because of the history that he had completed in New England. But if he also wants to be the GM of my team, I would rather have probably 3 other guys as my head coach before him. And that includes Mike Vrabel, and that includes taking shots on guys like Ben Johnson, probably, because at the least, I know that they're just doing the one job. And with Belichick, you have to worry a little bit about he's never won without Tom Brady stuff. I think that's a fair complaint at this point.
Yeah, like the only reason why I wouldn't hire him would be if he wants to be the GM. That's it. If you told me that the Commanders could hire him and they didn't have to give him player personnel control, and it was more of a setup of what Andy Reid has now, which is he has some say, but he has a general manager. I think that works, and I could see the Commanders being very interested and still someone that has a chance to go down as the best NFL head coach in history. Are there issues? No coach is perfect for sure. Does he fit in every single spot? No. And do I want him to be my GM? Absolutely not. But from a head coach, let's not. I don't think the last 3 years should completely. Let's not downplay the quality of a head coach that Bill Belichick to me still is. But
at least from a defensive end, I agree.
That's. How's that any different than most of these guys that we're talking about, Cody? You know what I mean? Ben Johnson, unproven. We all think he's an offensive genius, but you may not know anything about defense. I don't know. Yeah. I would argue some of the better offensive coordinators are guys that are actually pretty good defensive minds too. Just makes sense, right? You know both, but we don't know. I mean, Andy Reid, we talk about here, offensive genius. Steve Spagnuolo is basically the defensive head coach. He's the coordinator, but like Andy let Spags handle all of that because he's smart. Let him do that. He's the best at that. I'll do my thing. So I don't know if it matters if we think, well, Belichick, he's only a good defensive coach. Like,
well, I don't think he's going to let somebody
like,
else handle his offense. That's the difference. I don't think, like in Andy's case, right, where maybe defense isn't his specialty and he lets Spags do it. I don't think Bill Belichick's going to go to Washington and be like, hey, offensive coordinator I've chosen, you handle the offense. That's not how Bill operates.
But Bill's not calling the offensive plays. Never has.
No, I'm just saying from a design, the design of his offense over the last.
He has input. Yeah,
it's not been good.
He has input. Yeah, he obviously will be making a mistake if he goes and just hires Bill O'Brien or McDaniels to be his OC. But I think, like, from a coach, I don't want to. I think sometimes, as much as it's very easy to look at the last couple of years of Belichick and see him without Brady and now like think he sucks. I think that's a little overblown. But yeah, as a GM, I'm with you. Like, no, you cannot be my GM and a coach. Then I'm not interested. But if it's Atlanta or any of these other teams and they're like, hey, we love you to be our head coach. We'll pay you whatever money you want, but you're not our GM, and he's good with that, then I think it can work.
There's a sizable difference between my interest level, you're right, between whether or not he just wants to be a coach or if he wants to do both. The other thing about this, I always wonder, it's like, if you're going through this kind of massive change, you're Bill Belichick. You've been the head coach of a team for a quarter of a century. I don't remember what the stats were this morning. It was like there have been 245 other coaches in football.
Goodness.
And the amount of time Bill Belichick has just been the coach of that. The Chiefs themselves have had 6 different coaches during that time. And Andy Reid's been the coach for the last, 10 plus years. He's the 3rd longest tenured coach now in all of football. So only behind, I think it's Harbaugh and Tomlin left that have been there at their team longer than Andy Reid. If you're doing that, then just make a change. Like, make a change. You still think you got the coaching chops? I would never argue that defensively for Bill Belichick. He has never lost that touch. Offensively, it could just be chalked down to what we would put on any coach, which is, turns out if you don't have a quarterback, nobody's going to make you look all that good on offense. The problem is, as we just stated, he chose all those guys. He chose Mac Jones. He chose Bailey Zappi. All the rumors at one point late in Tom Brady's career is that he wanted to choose Jimmy G. He let Tom Brady go when he was still capable of being a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I know that because Tom Brady left and won a Super Bowl. So there are parts of like the control working for him, that structure, that would make me hesitant on Bill. I do think he's. Both Saban and him are kind of inarguable for best coach of all time at their respective sports.
I
right?
think so, man.
I think you got to get closer
Saban,
on the title.
Yeah, certainly Saban. I don't think. I don't think it's close. Like, I think Saban runs away with best college coach of all time. Belichick, there's maybe a little more nuance to the conversation there.
Someone might say Bill Walsh or something.
And fair or not, and I'm not even saying but fair or not, there will be people that will bring up the cheating scandals that happen along with Belichick.
Been a couple.
So his is more complicated, I guess, in terms of making his case for the greatest of all time. But he definitely has a very strong argument. If you're wondering, what do the offshore odds say on where he could land or who could be the Patriots head coach? Gerard Mayo, who is currently the linebacker coach, I believe, or defensive coordinator. I don't remember his exact title.
Now, I think.
Minus 350. So he's a heavy favorite offshore to be the Patriots coach. Mike Vrabel, we know he's available. Makes a lot of sense. Plus 250. And then you get to the names we've mentioned before. Ben Johnson at 4-1. Bill O'Brien is 14-1. Eric Bieniemy 30-1. There's some fun ones that offshore books put on here just because they want attention, but it's still fun to mention to you. At 100-1, would you care to guess?
Matt Nagy.
Tom Brady.
There you go.
Tom Brady, 100-1.
This is the single greatest coaching cycle of all time, by the way.
It's incredible.
There's never been a better crop of coaches. I mean, come on. You have 2 future Hall of Fame coaches available just for starters. Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick are available to you if you are interested in doing 2 future Hall of Famers. Then there's like the normal couple of hot coordinator names, right? Miami and Detroit, where you go down that road. And then there's other like really established former head coaches and also another guy who won a national title in Harbaugh who's available and on the street. I mean, this is if you're looking for a coach, this is the year. And maybe that's how we ended up with 8 firings when this thing all shook out, which is a lot more than I think a lot of people were thinking going into the cycle. And now a quarter of the league has lost their head coach. Again, another reason why you should love Kansas City situation. Andy Reid,
stability.
Mahomes, Veach, they haven't changed GM, coach, or quarterback in a long time. And when you keep that triumvirate together for as long as you do, God, winning is easy.
Look, sometimes you got the wrong GM. Sometimes you have the wrong coach. And so you're going to make changes. But I do think the leash that is given is awfully short in the NFL. Now, look, the Chiefs had success almost instantly with Andy Reid, right? He immediately turned them into a playoff team. But still, and I'm not saying that, like, sometimes it's a bad hiring. So you're like, hey, we need to get out of this after 2 years. But there are plenty of times where in today's day and age, and it's not even the GM's fault, it's just the pressure. The GM knows he only has X amount of time to figure it out. So therefore, the coach only has X amount of time to figure it out. But I do think sometimes we cut the cord way too quick. You know,
Sure.
I mean, I don't think anybody's saying that Josh McDaniels wasn't given enough time. But my point, there are some times where I'm like, I do think truly, and college football is a whole different argument because you're talking about recruiting and building cycles, but
yeah, you have a chance to if you can't fix it in 4 years in college football, you've been given enough time.
Well, I'm just saying, like, to me, you need to be given at least 4 in college.
Yeah.
In the NFL, you're getting like 2. And I do think you should probably be given at least 3 in most circumstances to figure that out. And it's just tough. And Andy Reid and Brett, they've had success immediately, so there was never any question about that. But, yeah, stability matters, man. The Ravens, a stable organization. The Steelers, stable organization for the most part.
They make the postseason every year.
They also have great head coaches, but there is something to be said for stability and calm and not making rushed decisions in an organization.
And thinking that you can be thinking about an organization's future 7 years from now when you're signing someone to a contract. That's what's important about Brett Veach and Brant Tillis and some of these other guys who've handled the Chiefs cap situation. They signed Patrick Mahomes thinking, what are we going to have to do 4 or 5 years from now in order to keep this roster playable for this amount of time? But that's also going back to Bill Belichick, why I don't want him doing both jobs. Like Nick Saban and the NIL and all this stuff, it's all interconnected, which is Nick Saban's job's harder because there's just more things to do with his job. Like NIL adds a whole nother thing you weren't dealing with related to your job before, and now you have to. Like being a GM of like when you were Bill Parcells in the 80s, you could be the GM of an NFL team and be a head coach because the jobs are kind of like the same, and both of them weren't quite as, like run you into the ground as they are now. Now, the jobs are too complicated. Everything is too complicated. The same reason like Brett Veach is the general manager, but he has like 9 guys who he has to delegate the other important parts of it. He doesn't worry about the cap. He lets Brant Tillis worry about the cap. That's too much work. I don't want to deal with that. And Andy doesn't want to be the GM. Bill and Saban and all this stuff, especially as you get older as a coach, just be good at the one thing. Like if you're Bill Self, don't worry about try to let the other people handle the NIL stuff so you can just worry about coaching basketball.
Yeah, that's why when we brought up like Roy Williams and and Coach K and Jay Wright. We've talked about this a lot in college basketball, but it probably applies for college football as well. And I don't know, the NFL's a little bit different, but just the days of having these coaches that last 20 years in one place or 30 years in one place, whether we're talking about college football, college basketball, certainly the NFL, that just doesn't happen. I mean, Belichick, we thought he was there forever. Still 24 years, and he, you know what I mean? Like, he still couldn't get the third. Now, 24 is nuts, but my point is, guys like Coach K were there for what? 40?
Yeah.
Roy wasn't there for 40, but still he was there for a long time.
Between Kansas and
I think Bill Self might be one of the last
of that breed
tenured coaches. Boeheim retired here in the last year at Syracuse. That's just not how, for a variety of reasons. One, it's the complicated nature of the job, but also the amount of money that is being made too by coaches. Why are you working for 30 years? Why? You know what I mean? Well, you love the job, no doubt. I don't dispute that, but there's a difference in financial impact now too.
I do it's so funny because this is just the difference between how much money somebody has or how much they think they need. Like Drew is in the bullpen. He was like, "Oh, dude, he's gonna do ESPN. He's gonna get this money, Saban."
Oh,
right. And it's they'll pay him tens of millions of dollars, and I'm like, man, I would just want to retire.
Yeah.
To me, Saban doesn't need $20 million more dollars.
Of course, he doesn't need the money.
That is retirement for him because he's used to literally a college football job is 365 days. You work from August to December, and then you do whatever you want.
Just get on that boat you love so much and fish all day. Why are you still working?
So I'm with you, but I think one, they're addicted to it.
Yeah.
Right. But it's much. I think it's easy for us to sit here and be like, man, you got 20 million. You got 50 million in the bank. What do you do? I think. When it's something you've done your whole life, it's hard to just not do anything. I know we're like, it'd be so easy. I'd love to just not do anything. I think it's easy for 6 months to not do anything, but not do anything for 5 years. You know what I mean? I think there is a difference when you're done to the level of Nick Saban, where 24/7, your life for 50 years has been football. And then be like, well, I'm not going to do a damn thing. Not everybody's like, Coach O is like that. LSU's former coach, he's like, I'm just going to go to Destin, Florida, and continue getting this ridiculous tan and hang out with women on the beach. That's great.
Respect, Coach O.
He's fine with not being around football. I don't think Nick Saban's just going to the beach.
I think sometimes they treat it as now football's a hobby. This is hobby football, where I just show up, talk on TV for an hour, and then I go home for the day. I guess
Nick
maybe
Saban
that's how they treat
want to
it,
get up early on every Saturday morning during football season and take Lee Corso's spot? That's the question.
Well,
dude, he was up at 8 a.m. at Alabama's facility.
Yeah,
probably. He's an old man.
He was there today. He showed up at 7 o'clock.
I'm just saying,
today.
does he want to take Lee Corso's spot?
I feel like that's what ESPN wants, and Corso can leave. Based on what I think Front Office Sports tweeted out, Corso can leave whenever, but their thought is to bring Saban in and be the eventual.
That's a tricky situation.
How come broadcasting is the only position where you get to just stay there, even though
that's because Corso's same thing as Dickie V.
I don't care, dude. If Bill Belichick can get kicked out, then you got to kick out Lee Corso. It's done. No offense, dude. It's done for Lee Corso. He's got to stop doing TV. Honestly, it hurts to watch. It's nothing against the incredible career he had. He shouldn't be doing that job anymore. He's not good at it anymore. So
I agree. It is a rough watch. But also, you can't compare Lee Corso to you just said I don't get it. Broadcasters are the only people that just keep your job forever. He's like the 0.001% that make that decision. It's not,
him and Al Michaels.
It's about that's about it. Lee Corso. I'm with you that it is rough to watch and all that. But he's in a position where he gets to quit when he wants to quit.
I think no one should be in that position if they're bad at their job.
Just saying.
They're obviously going to give him that luxury, but someone ought to really tell Lee.
I think it's different if we're talking about Lee Corso, who's on an entertainment program, right? Versus we're talking about. I hate to bring this up. Someone that makes very important decisions that could impact Americans' lives on a daily basis that may have no term limit, something like that. That might be a little more problematic.
You mean if you're a 97-year-old congressperson?
Yes,
and you're
that's
just
exactly what I mean, Cody.
You're just hanging out.
That's exactly what I mean. Sorry.
I understand.
Sorry. It was just the only thing I could think of that is comparable.
Look, dude, I get it. The stakes are certainly lower. They're definitely lower, but it's fine. Just give him the old parade.
Yeah.
Let him put on a mascot head one more time and then say goodbye.
I think this is going to be it. I feel like this is the year where they do something to celebrate him a little bit more. They go to different spots and they make it more of a memory sort of deal, like a one last time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Look, Kirk Herbstreit seems like an incredible human being because I'm sure you guys have seen some of the
those
stories
videos
on how much he has helped.
Yeah,
Lee Corso. But basically, he has really helped him off camera, making sure he's prepared and ready to go. And even on air, if there's a little stumble from Corso, he's very good at supporting it. Like,
Yeah.
it's a really, I
Being
mean,
there for him.
it's a really cool relationship, I guess
is.
I would say, with that. All right, coming up next, though, let's talk some Chiefs football and get Dane and Hugh's thoughts on Nick Saban, Bill Belichick, no longer coaching in their respective spots, including retirement for one of them. Dane and Hughes joins us next.
You're listening to Cody and Gold. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every weekday starting at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Outdoor America with Tommy Bench, Saturday mornings on 610 Sports Radio at 5 a.m. and the Odyssey app. This week, Tommy answers your questions. Outdoor America, presented by Wholesale Batteries, the right battery the first time.
Last year, other dealers were charging up to 10 grand over MSRP, but those cars haven't held their value. I'm Jeff Davis, owner of Volkswagen Lease Summit. If your car is worth a lot less money than you bought it for, exchange it.
Is your car payment too much? Exchange it. Is your interest rate too high? Exchange it. Want a lower price? You guessed it. Exchange your vehicle at Volkswagen Lease Summit today. We're offering rates as low as 2.99% APR, low leases, and thousands off MSRP. Come and see us or visit VWLeaseSummit.com.
Financing through VCI on approved credit.
When you want to feel your best, go where I go. Supplement Superstores, 8 locations around the Kansas City area. Supplement Superstores has the best selection of products and the most knowledgeable staff around. Plus, they have wholesale pricing every day. Supplement Superstores when you're ready to feel your best. If you keep one resolution this year, it's to let Smokehouse Barbecue cater all of your events. With the football postseason upon us, invite Smokehouse to your tailgate. At the stadium or at home, Smokehouse is the perfect choice for game day. And if you don't feel like getting out in the cold this winter, have Smokehouse delivered to your house. And make sure you try their new Smokehouse Bowl, a delicious combination of their world-famous beans, mac and cheese, chopped burnt ends, and smoked sausage. Visit them in Independence, Zona Rosa, or Gladstone, or at SmokehouseBBQ.com. It's Smokehouse Barbecue.
Get the home field advantage every time with Fairfield by Marriott, official hotel partner of the NCAA. Whether you're a student athlete working toward your championship dreams or your team's biggest fan, Fairfield by Marriott has everything you need to get ready for game day. From comfortable guest rooms to complimentary hot breakfast. Fairfield is part of the Marriott Bonvoy portfolio of hotels and official hotel partner of the NCAA. Visit fairfield.marriott.com to book your next game day stay.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-973-7809 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-973-7809. That's 800-973-7809. What do you have to lose? Call 800-973-7809. Again, 800-973-7809.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Anjali.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just got an alert for a strange charge on my card.
No problem. We make sure you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases on your Discover card. Let's see. Did you purchase something from a t-shirt cannon store yesterday?
Absolutely not. No, I already have like 3.
$0 fraud liability guarantee. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard. Limitations apply.
The NFL playoffs live on Odyssey. Westwood One brings you all the action from Wild Card Weekend, streaming live on the free Odyssey app.
Handoff McCaffrey runs left, powers into the end zone, touchdown 49ers.
The excitement is contagious as teams start their journey towards the big game.
End zone, right side, it is caught, touchdown, Puka Nacua.
Listen to every game live from Westwood One. Get in the game and download the free Odyssey app today. AUDACY.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Arvest Bank, proud supporter of your Kansas City Chiefs radio network. Arvest Bank, member FDIC. Arvest Bank, proud supporter of your Kansas City Chiefs radio network. Stop by any Arvest branch to find out why banking with Arvest and the Arvest Go mobile app makes life easier. Arvest Bank, member FDIC.
Just getting started here on a Thursday, talking NFL postseason and our playoff coverage on 610, brought to you by Twin Peaks Eats, Drinks, Scenic Views. Someone that I'm sure played in plenty of cold weather games is going to join us right now, our guy Danon Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver. He will be in the warm broadcast booth, though, Saturday night on the call with Mitch Holthus, Dan Israel, as you're making Kling obviously do his job down on the sideline. You're going to be nice and warm, though, Danon.
Yes, we will be warm in the confines, the closed confines of the radio booth at Arrowhead Stadium. So, yeah, we feel for Kling. We'll be praying for him, but I do not envy him at all.
What's the coldest game you played in? I mean, you played in Kansas City for starters, and you played in you were around the Midwest your whole playing career.
Yeah, I played against the Colts in '96 in that playoff game, which was freezing. The coldest game I've been to was actually the AFC Championship when we played Tom Brady and the Patriots. I thought that was a freezing day just to be there doing the pregame and postgame shows. But from a playing standpoint, playing against the Colts in that playoff game in '96 was as cold as I could remember, yes.
And it's supposed to be colder, of course, this Saturday. Actually, the reference I made on Twitter, which actually feels right, Dana, for this is they're letting fans bring in cardboard. They had kind of stopped doing that, but it's going to be so cold they're going to let them bring in cardboard. And essentially the Chiefs are playing Marty Ball offense. We're back in the 90s.
Yeah, we're going to have a little flashback to 3 yards in a cloud of snow, I guess you could say. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think this is one of those games where the toughness is going to prevail. Who's going to be tougher? Who's going to allow the elements to affect them? Their catching, their running, their tackling. The tackling part is the key. I was talking with some people earlier this week, and I said, you go back and look at film. I know our buddy Sean Barber always likes to watch the All-22, and Binkley does too. But if you go back and watch games in September, and this is yearly, this is in every level, college, high school, pro level, et cetera. Go back and watch early season games and then go back and watch late season games. Same season, same guys, and you just see different techniques. Not that they're doing it on purpose, but the weather affects you subconsciously. Do you wrap up in your tackling, or do you just try to shoot your body through a ball carrier? Do you hold the ball tighter, and then that makes you less shifty when you're running the ball? Then when it's warm out, do you catch the ball with your hands when it's warm out, and now you catch it with your body? So it's kind of one of those deals where it's mind over matter, that you just have to go out there and play and not try to think about the elements, but they are a factor. And to me, the team that's going to be tougher within those elements is going to be the winning team.
That's, I think, why Alex and I are growing maybe concerningly confident, weirdly enough, for Saturday, is that they don't have anyone left on their defensive line. The Chiefs have proven to be a better running team, I feel like, lately from an offensive line perspective than even maybe in pass protection. And it's not like that's been a physical team at any point this year on on defense. So, like, to me, it's like at some stage, I do start to think that the Chiefs have the decided advantage based on all the things you're saying, Danon.
Well, I think there's always an advantage when we're playing at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium. It still reigns true. Even back when I played, we thought the other team was down 7-0 before the kickoff, just because of the atmosphere, because of the fans, because of the involvement, because of the noise, all of that. But then when you amp it up into the playoff mode and our successes here in Kansas City, you're putting a lot of pressure on any opponent that comes in. Now, with that being said, I will say, even if you want to contend that the Dolphins aren't as physical, they do have a track team of guys that if you break a tackle, if you lose containment, which we saw a little bit of that last week, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's going to be a guy that can turn the corner and take it to the house. If you let a jet sweep with Tyreek Hill go, or if you have Mostert, if he's back and he's able to get to the edge, now it's him running on the hard turf or the cold turf with you chasing him, and who's going to be the guy that's going to run faster in that circumstance. So, there is a component of who's tougher, but I feel like you have to be disciplined, and discipline starts between your ears in these type of elements. And it's going to be cold for both teams. It's going to be cold for the coaches. You got communication, play calling, the helmets, what you're hearing inside the helmets, the crowd noise and how that affects everything. Deep passing. Are you going to take some chances downfield and throw the ball downfield, or are you going to try to nickel and dime down the field to have ball control? So all of those factors come into play. It's good that we're able to practice within the elements. The Chiefs were out at practice outside yesterday. Don't think they're going to go outside every day, but to experience that on a short week for both teams, I like our chances. I think we'll be the tougher team. It's just a matter of execution in the game.
How big do you think it is, though? Like a player, Travis Kelce, got that extra rest last week. I know he wasn't the only one, but I think we all could recognize, given his age and just he seemed like he's been beat up a lot the last year, and this has also probably just been a very frustrating season on top of it. I feel like I'm excited to see what could be a fresh and healthy Travis Kelce on Saturday, too.
Oh, absolutely, because it's one thing to have the extra rest, guys, but it's the other thing of not getting dinged up in that last game, not having a twisted ankle or a stubbed toe or anything that, even though if you were Travis Kelce, you might have played a couple of series, maybe one series to get your marker 1,000-yard season over. Who would know what would happen during the warm-ups, during that series? So it's not just about, he got an extra week of rest because he practiced every day last week. He practiced every day this week. So he didn't technically get a full week rest. What he did get is an opportunity or one less opportunity for people to be banging on him. And that can bode well in this circumstance. But again, I don't think the rest factor is as big as the weather factor. Like, playing in that is different. When guys are huddled up by the heaters or sitting on the bench to stay warm, you may not have as much communication on the sideline. Guys are focused on, in their own little bubble as far as staying warm and what their tasks are. But is there communication going on the sideline where you're preparing for the next series, you're preparing for something maybe you saw and got a glimpse of early in the game? Or is it just about self-preservation? So, it's so many different factors that go into what you're doing on the field. The coaches, are you going to be interacting with the players as much, or are you going to be trying to keep yourself warm on the sideline? Is the energy going to be the same on the sideline when you're going on and off the field, the communication and packages? We know that the Chiefs team, we like to rotate a lot of bodies in different defensive formations, different guys. Chris Jones moving to outside from inside, Derek Nottie being on the inside, but then you bring in Tershawn Wharton and Mike Dana. You move him over to the nose guard. Last week we saw George Karlaftis over the nose guard in different packages. All of that happening when you're talking about 2 degrees or maybe even negative degrees during the game at night. Like, those are the things I'm concerned about as opposed to the rest that we had last week.
Speaking of former Chiefs wide receiver, current color analyst Danon Hughes here on Cody and Gold. Danon, you were on the Chiefs when Neil Smith made his return to Kansas City as a member of the Denver Broncos. So you've got some unique experience or perspective on this, on what it'll be like when Tyreek Hill returns to Kansas City. A little bit of a difference. Neil Smith winning one championship with a different team. Tyreek Hill won one here, and then they won one without him. What do you think it'll be like for Tyreek on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it'll be different. Neil, at that time that he returned, he had not won the first Super Bowl yet. We had actually beat them on Stoyanovic's last-second field goal, and there's a video of him pacing up and down the sideline upset, which was fun for us. But for Tyreek, it's different because of, social media and all the chatter that he's participated in and some of the digs and jabs that he's thrown at the organization since he's left, and talking about Tua being better than Patrick Mahomes or being more accurate and just those little slights. I feel like it's very similar to more similar to Jamar Chase than it is to Neil Smith, because Jamar was challenging our defense. Even the mic'd up comments that he made in Germany right before he fumbled and we had the scoop and score by Brian Cook. Like, that's a different dynamic for our defense, and the challenge of, like, you don't want that guy who's going to go down as an icon in Kansas City history, even though he left. You don't want that guy to get off in this game on this turf. I was part of the program. I wouldn't say I was part of the broadcast, the pregame and postgame show with one of the most electric times that I had been at Arrowhead Stadium when we were playing the Raiders. I want to say it was Monday night or Sunday night, and the crowd was chanting Tyreek's name prior to a punt return.
Yeah.
And he took it to the house, and the place erupted. First, I had never heard, even during the Dante Hall and Tamarick Vanover era, I never heard I never heard the fans chant one guy's name that loud, all together. And the fact that he was able to take it to the house just tells you what kind of electric player he can be. And these guys don't want that. Like, we don't want to hear the boos because he made a big play. We want to hear the boos because he made a mistake like he did in Germany. So it's important for him, I'm sure. I'm sure he would have liked it to be in a warmer time. But fact remains is this is where we stand right now. We got to stop him.
We're talking to Danon Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver. He'll be part of the broadcast on Saturday night over on 106.5 The Wolf. Huge news in the last 24, 48 hours just in coaching world. And whether it was initially Mike Vrabel getting fired, then it's Pete Carroll, then it's Nick Saban retiring from college football. Bill Belichick is in part ways today in a presser in about 15 minutes, although it looks like he's going to coach again. Is this specifically with Nick Saban just, hey, new era, NIL, all this, and maybe a guy's just tired of change? Or do you think there's, I guess, more of a theme going on here across the board?
I think there's a mixture. I was surprised. I mean, I think, what did we say, maybe a couple of years ago, Dabo Swinney was supposed to be the one that was retiring because, he didn't want to have NIL be a factor and God forbid players being able to utilize their presence and popularity to gain any kind of money. So it's interesting to see that he's still coaching, but from perspective with Nick Saban and those guys, I just feel like there's times where you recognize that the game may be moving past you, not necessarily the X's and O's, but everything that's encompassed, the recruiting, the re-recruiting, the transfer portal. You're going into living rooms and making promises that a lot of times I don't think these coaches really believe. I know that one of the more valued aspects of my existence and commitment to the University of Iowa was because Hayden Fry came in my living room and promised me, my parents, that he would give me an opportunity as a student athlete at the University of Iowa and to play baseball. And to think that there are some kids now, a lot of kids, that are getting that same speech, and then the coaches leave and know that they won't be able to live up to that because they could be recruiting a transfer guy to come in. You're talking about top quarterbacks, top position players, and in the back of your mind that you have other quarterbacks proven at different programs that are willing to come to you. But I have to do all that and juggle all that, being older than 70 years old and dealing with all the extras, and then now seeing some more parity at the college level, I just think that the game just passes guys, and you realize there's more to life than juggling all that is encompassed in college football. So props to them. They accomplish a lot. He'll go down as the greatest or one of the greatest college coaches ever. But, I mean, I'm not totally surprised in this day and age that those guys are turning away from their long-lasting career.
Dane and Hughes, players only tonight, right?
Yes, sir. We'll be in. Have Kendall Gammon in there with me, so another special teams guy. So we'll be able to chat up some Chiefs and hopefully move towards a win this Saturday.
That's exactly right. Yeah, hopefully we're talking about a divisional round, maybe showdown with the Bills next week with you. That'd be a lot of fun. So appreciate it. Stay warm this weekend.
We're actually going to say Bills lose.
Hey.
And let's have another game at GEHA Field. How about that?
Sign me up.
And then the Browns can beat the Ravens, and we can have 3. It sounds fun. Sounds great.
There you go. I like that. I like that recipe. We're going against the chalk.
There you go. That's Dane and Hughes. We'll be listening tonight and, of course, on Saturday night as well over on 106.5 The Wolf. But tonight, players only, and you heard him there, Kendall Gammon, former Chiefs long snapper, going to join him in studio for a players-only perspective on, I'm sure, this weather and this matchup against the Dolphins coming up on Saturday night. And while we were talking, I think you retweeted it as well as I did. We saw that there's a tweet from Andy Slater. Yeah, and he said the wind chill in Kansas City Saturday night will, quote, be dangerously cold, according to the National Weather Service. That's nothing new. We've known that. The latest forecast, though, it's only getting worse temperature-wise.
Yeah.
Wind chill of potentially -30.
Oh, God, that just sounds... You're going to be able to get into this game for $20.
Now, it's true. He also said an NFL source told him there will be no schedule change.
Since when do we move games because it's cold?
I will say, I won't act like it's never happened because it has. But it's
cold?
But it's not normal. There usually it involves a storm coming at the same time. But who actually thought they would be moving because it's cold? Make your decision if you want to go or not. There will be some people that choose not to, others that won't. I told you earlier in the week I had an opportunity to go, and I was like, it's just not going to happen. Now, I have an update to that. Last night, might actually now, Cody, have a chance to go because you asked me what would it take.
You said club level.
Uh-huh.
You said no worse than club level.
And there's a chance now that might happen.
After all this.
Even then, I still am thinking about it. But at least with club, you get there before the game. You hang out in the heat until 10 minutes before kickoff. You're miserable. And if it's so miserable, you go back inside. But otherwise,
for 5-10 minutes, warm
otherwise
up.
You're out there. Once I'm out there, I'll be out there. But then you go in for halftime. You get 10 minutes just to take a deep breath. And then you go back out. I can handle it if it's that, I think.
Are you sure? Are you, based on your current well-being, are you sure you can handle
well-being
4 hours out in the cold?
Current well-being.
You were sick for a month. I'm worried about you.
Sick for a month. Everybody's had this congestion thing going on. I just had a doctor's checkup this morning.
What was the verdict?
The breathing stuff is all taken care of, as it has been for a couple months. They think the congestion thing is something that's going around. They said everybody's saying they don't. Everybody's tested negative for COVID, but people are congested and all this. And they said that's something that has been going around for a while.
Okay.
The voice is back, obviously.
The voice is much better.
Yeah.
Yes. You can speak again. I'm worried about your. You just got it back.
But what is going out in the cold? What is that?
Yelling in the cold weather.
Oh well, I might be a little more cautious with going. Full force on the yelling.
Oh, you're going to find a middle ground?
Maybe there's a middle ground there. But it's going to be hard not to. It's a playoff game, man. Again,
this
the only
is a
way
weird
I'm going...
storyline for me. We keep asking NFL sources if they'll move this game because it's cold. You're like, no. Chiefs are allowing cardboard, which apparently they weren't because I had suggested that the other day.
Back in the day, it was a common thing. You stand on the cardboard, obviously, because that concrete is just, a brick of ice.
It's like size they gave a size recommendation for how long.
And you can bring in, I just saw an email, they actually did just send out an email within the last, half hour, Cody, and it mentioned you're going to be allowed to bring in blankets and then some of the battery stuff you can't, I think you have to have the battery unplugged or something. I don't know. There's a whole details you can find on the Chiefs website, but yeah, man.
Also coming up at 11 o'clock, we had said that Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick were scheduled to have a press conference. Press conference is not quite the way I would put it. They're giving statements at 11 o'clock over issuing written statements, but there'll be no questions.
Oh, well.
Later today, maybe Kraft is expected. They're both just going to say, what a treat, and then move off of the podium.
And then Kraft will answer the real questions. Belichick won't talk to anybody until he's hired at the next place. That's probably what's happening.
Yeah, most likely. And I mean, I'm assuming at some point he'll have to answer those
That
questions.
means Belichick got fired. Let's just be honest. Again, it's the same thing with the Pete Carroll thing. Let's stop sugarcoating everything like, oh, no, Pete Carroll got fired as a head coach, and Belichick's getting fired.
If they would have still let Belichick do all the things he wanted to do inside that organization, he'd have remained the head coach of the New England Patriots. But the second the boss above you decides that's not the way it's going to go, that's there.
Yeah.
So I would caution anyone going to the game, obviously, to dress appropriately like anything else.
Be safe. Yeah.
They were never going to move this game.
No.
The only time they move it is if it's like physically you can't get to the playing surface. Not the playing surface is too cold. But I know that this sounds like overly confident. There is no universe on this planet. There's no multiverse in which a team from Miami is winning a game with negative 30.
Don't say that, though.
Wind chill.
Stop.
Too cold for Miami.
Don't say. So, look, I think the weather is absolutely a factor. Heck, we just talked to Dana, who played in the league. We talked to Ross Tucker, who played in the league. I mean, we trust those guys. We have them on for a reason. I do think there is a point where does it get overblown of like,
how big the advantage is, you mean?
I am confident the Chiefs are winning. Some of it's the weather, but a lot of it is I just think the Chiefs are the better football team.
Agreed.
And so my eggs are not all in on the weather basket, right? I mean, like that's where I'm kind of at. That, stats that get referenced like, oh, they have it, they're 0-12 in the last 40-degree or colder tip. Yeah, the Dolphins, spoiler, sucked back in 2013, so I'm not surprised they lost that game. You know what I mean? Like, there's a balance. I was talking last night on that betting show. I had Heiss on with me as well. We were out at Hollywood doing the show, and we were discussing those trends, and it's like Tua and Mike McDaniel together have only played in 2 under 30-degree or whatever games. Now, they're 0-2, but it's different than saying, oh, the Dolphins are 0-12 or whatever, 0-9. Like, what happened in 2014 has no bearing. Neither one of those guys, Tua wasn't even in college
Weirdly
yet.
enough, with weather, I think it has some bearing. Not no bearing. You're right in the sense that they are different teams. Over the course of since 2013 till now, Miami is roughly a 500 team. They're not as garbage as you're making you seem out to be.
That's my point. People are making it seem like, well, because of the weather, the Dolphins have no chance. No, the Dolphins don't have a chance because there's bad weather and they have a million injuries and because the Chiefs' defense is the best in football. That's why I don't think the Dolphins are winning.
It's a combination.
It's not like, 90% the weather. Like, I feel like you talk to some people that are like, well, the Dolphins could be the 72 Dolphins and they just couldn't win at Arrowhead this weekend because of the weather.
Somebody's now mentioning when the Pittsburgh game got moved.
Because I thought there was going to be an ice storm.
Oh, I know. They didn't move it till the morning. I was already at Arrowhead when they moved it and then had to spend the entire day there. I was there for like 15 hours. But that was just moved it. And again, ice storm. Not, it's just cold. That's what it's supposed to be on Saturday. It's not supposed to be snow dumping down on the field. It's not supposed to be an ice storm. It is very simply horrendously cold is what the expectation is on Saturday.
Dana mentioned 96. That was the Colts game. It was 11 degrees. That's not the wind chill, but it was 11 degrees. 2008, it was 10 degrees. December 17th of 2000, it was 9. December 10th of 1972, it was 8. And then it was 1 degree twice, the tie for the coldest game at Arrowhead from not a wind chill perspective, where, again, this one's going to break that record, I think. But 1 degree in December of 83 and December of 2016. This one, high temp game time temp wise, may not be the coldest, but with the wind chill, I think it's going to be the coldest.
I went to that one in 2008. That's the coldest game I've ever been to, and I've never been more miserable. Yeah. I mean, just so cold. And it was another one of those, like, it said 10, but the wind chill was way worse. It was just like blustery and miserable. And
do you think it sells out?
What's that?
Yeah, I do.
Do you think it sells out?
Yeah. They'll be like, it's not like they're not going to be only like 55,000 people there. It'll be a full.
I think it's
stadium.
already technically sold out. So like,
but
even if
it's I mean, there's a ton of tickets on the secondary market that keep plunging. At some point, there will be some people that have never been able to go to a playoff game, and they're going to say, "Screw it, tickets are $60."
You will never get to watch one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play in the history of the NFL play in a playoff game for cheaper than this. I can tell you that. This is the cheapest you'll ever get to watch Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game. It will never be cheaper.
Everybody's going to make their own decision on it. Like, for some people, it's going to be worth it. For some people, there are health issues, depending on your age as well, will factor whether people go or not. Like, it's probably not the smartest decision if you're someone that, is 80 years old to probably be out there when it's negative 30 wind chill. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different.
Are we to get him priced below $50 yet, or are we still waiting for that?
I thought I saw last night on like any of one of the StubHub type places, and it was down to 68, but I don't know if I haven't checked today.
The players aren't all from Miami, you dote. Oh, okay. They've been living and practicing in Miami. I understand that some of them lived in the Midwest for a while. There's also a long history of this. There is statistical evidence to back up the fact that warm weather or dome teams are worse, historically worse in cold weather.
I'm with you. I'm just saying there's a balance of how much are we acting like I feel like the way sometimes it gets discussed, we're acting as if, again, I'll use the example, that the 72 Dolphins would come here and lose because it's cold. I'm saying there's some nuance in between there where it's like, it's a factor, but it is not 95% weather. That's why they can't win. I disagree with that notion. That's all I'm saying. Of course it's a factor, but there is still also, the Chiefs are just a better football team. That's why I think they're going to win. And then you add the weather. That's why we're confident. Coming up next, though, we'll get to the 11 o'clock hour. And one player that does scare you a little bit, though, Cody, about this Miami Dolphins team. And no, it is not Tyreek Hill.
Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
Earn a $1 per gallon discount on gas when you transfer and fill a prescription at your Hy-Vee pharmacy. That's a $1 fuel saver for each prescription you transfer and fill at Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee makes it easy to transfer your prescriptions. Just call or stop by your local Hy-Vee pharmacy and let us handle the rest. You can also transfer online or using the Hy-Vee mobile app. Restrictions apply, valid only at your Kansas City area Hy-Vee locations now through March 31st. See store for more details.
Hey, it's Kling. I always enjoy my time shopping at Hy-Vee, but I also play a little game with myself and seeing if I can rack up more fuel savers just by swiping that Hy-Vee fuel saver card. But there's even more. Introducing the all-new Hy-Vee Perks membership, a free and easy upgrade to your fuel saver card, exciting new advantages like exclusive member-only pricing on hundreds of items every day. To start earning the all-new benefits or to enroll for the first time, just go to hi-v.com/perks and upgrade your card. Hy-Vee Perks, the best grocery value in town.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call Heartland Men's Health today, because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you, it can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at Heartland Men's Health will give you back your sex life, because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So, make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help protect herself with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory tract disease caused by respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, in adults 60 years of age and older. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Hi, it's Trey Smith, and in order for our team to get a victory, we need honesty, teamwork, work ethic, humility, and the golden rule. That's why my truck is from the dealer that embodies all those values, Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram also supports Giving Hope, whose sole purpose is to feed and clothe the needy in Wyandotte County and beyond. Giving back in the highest integrity, that's how Jeff and his team do business. For your next vehicle, visit or go to victorychrysler-dodge-jeepram.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Turn up the heat with a mouth-watering bowl of brisket chili or savory green chili chicken soup to celebrate National Soup Month. Twin Peaks has just what you want to warm up all winter long. Head over to your favorite lodge to enjoy. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Ring in the new year with the ultimate timeless gift, a diamond from Diamonds Direct. Whether you're ready to pop the question or celebrating a lifetime of love in 2024, Diamonds Direct can make this New Year's one to remember forever. Diamonds Direct is the area's destination for exquisite diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and our nationwide price guarantee ensures you'll get the best value, period. To showcase that spectacular diamond, we have literally thousands of designer settings from all the top names like Tacori, Verragio, Simon G, A. Jaffe, and many more. And our experts will guide you every step of the way with the education you want and the respect you deserve. Engagement rings, wedding bands, eternity bands, fashion rings. At Diamonds Direct, we specialize in the ultimate symbol of love, and we welcome the opportunity to celebrate with you. So start the new year with some new excitement, new hope, and some new bling. Diamonds Direct. In Leawood at 119th and Row, across from Town Center. Proud to call Kansas City home. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
It's a new year, and Trailside RV Center on I-70 in Green Valley has the Jayco RV of your dreams. Trade-in values are high, and the 2024 financing rates say it's time to buy at Trailside RV. Go to trailsiderv.com and check out our prices now.
Wholesale batteries for all your battery needs. Lithium batteries for your motorcycle and ATVs. Lithium has superior power density with a longer life when compared to lead acid. Speak with Wholesale Batteries today on how you can benefit from lithium batteries.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Gas, groceries, utilities, you name it, the price of everything is going up, and if you're stuck in a bad timeshare with rising maintenance fees, the financial burden can be crushing. It is time to get your finances in order and get the real facts about that timeshare that you are stuck in and your options to get rid of it. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has been helping families out of horrible timeshares for over 10 years and has put together a complete timeshare exit information kit that he will send you absolutely free. To date, over 30,000 families have trusted Wesley Financial Group to help them out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares. Get the facts about how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation. Simply call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit and see how you can become timeshare free. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. Once again, 800-462-3333.
NFL playoff coverage on 610 Sports Radio is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views. Patrick Mahomes joins CDOT Mondays at 3:10. 610 Sports Radio. KCSP Kansas City. WDAF HD2 Liberty. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Little news in college football. Obviously, the last 24 hours, huge news with Nick Saban, but a little update to that where with Nick Saban retiring, the favorite to land the Alabama job by most reports has been Dan Lanning, the head coach at Oregon. In the last couple of minutes, Dan Lanning put out a video saying he is staying at Oregon, and that reports that he was in Tuscaloosa last night were inaccurate. You can still maybe be skeptical that something can change, but from the horse's mouth, Dan Lanning saying he is not leaving Oregon for Bama. And we talked about this briefly to start the show. I don't think that actually makes as much sense as it would for others. And just because Oregon's going to be in the Big Ten now, Nike money behind you for NIL, Oregon can pay you just as good as anybody in the country as well. And do you want to go to Bama? Not only is it the SEC, but the expectation is just going to be so out of whack, man. Whereas if I'm at a smaller school, let's just say, go get your money, and even if they run you out of there in 3 years, you got your money and you're good. Dan Lanning is making a ton of money at Oregon already.
Yes, and will continue to make a ton of money. If he was smart, he would have leveraged that into some more bonus money on the other side. It's been so weird because Saban gone, so now we're talking about this. Bill Belichick opened his press conference after leaving New England after 25 years with "Good morning. I haven't seen this many cameras since we signed Tebow." Why would he open
He's just
that
trying
way?
to show. He's just trying to be lighthearted.
That's an incredible way to open it.
Belichick and Kraft having their, I wouldn't even call it, like you said, a press conference, just giving statements as they are mutually agreeing to part ways after 24 years. Belichick got a little choked up talking about the fans, saying he'll always be a Patriot. I, quote, look forward to coming back here. But this time we're going to move on. I'm excited about the future. And the expectation, of course, is that he's going to be a head coach in the NFL here very soon again.
Next guess for head coach after Saban? Now that Dan Lanning would have been all of our...
I still think Lane Kiffin. I still think Lane Kiffin's interesting to watch.
Norvell? I mean, is that...
If Norvell would make sense to jump because the ACC mess with Florida State right now. You know what I mean?
I think that's my guess. My guess is Norvell. I'm interested.
I think it makes the most sense for Norvell because not only the ACC mess, but you look at his team. I mean, they're all leaving. They're all going to the pros. I think it's the perfect time for him to go.
I guess let's ask it two different ways. If you're Norvell, you leave, duh. If you're Bama, is he your next choice?
I think it's
I don't think so.
Because there's difference, right? Like, Norvell could end up going there, but do you think he's their next choice?
No.
I think Dan Lanning would have been at the top of their list, but I don't know
Lane
that
Kiffin might be 2 or 3 on their list.
I thought Kiffin would, because to me, I think it's an Alabama tie is the person who's getting hired. Kiffin obviously has it. Sark has it, but I don't think he's going. Dan Lanning has Alabama ties as well, obviously not taking. I think Kiffin is next, but Dabo would be another one whose name is in there. And then I think then you go to Norvell or somebody outside of Alabama ties.
Bama, which I shouldn't if they really believe Lane's willing to leave Ole Miss for Bama, I think that's the guy you go with. And then it's the trickle down.
I don't know why you wouldn't leave
Then
Ole
it's the
Miss for
trickle down
Alabama.
because then it's the trickle down. Like, okay, well then who takes the Ole Miss job? And then that's where it's fun.
Then who takes this job? Yeah, I think it's going to be there. Could be 3 to 4 more high-profile jobs that open up because of the money involved.
Yeah,
switches things around, and I don't know if that scares you about Lance Leipold.
I think
his name being floated or anything.
Part of the coaching carousel. You know what I mean? Like
you have to get through the first 4 or 5 guys that all rotated, then Leipold.
Yeah, I don't think if Lane Kiffin left, Lance Leipold's not going to Ole Miss. You know, they're not offering. You know what I mean?
But if Ole Miss took a different coach from a nice program that was a little bigger than Kansas, maybe he would leave there.
No, I think that's fair at that point. But right now, no, I don't think you have to be concerned yet. It's the further carousel part if that happens. We'll keep you up to date what's going on. Again, wild 24 hours coaching-wise as Saban's retiring and Belichick's holding a press conference saying he's leaving the Patriots after 24 years. So that is where things stand. But let's talk more about Chiefs-Dolphins on Saturday night. We know it's Tyreek Hill's return. Yes, great player, going to end up potentially as a Hall of Famer one day in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and certainly I think will be in the Chiefs Ring of Honor when the dust settles down the road. But that's not who scares you the most?
Nope. You would think that would be the logical answer. And actually going into the first game, as we discussed yesterday, he was. The guy I'm the most afraid of on the entire field on Saturday is Devin Achane. Terrifies me. I'll be honest. That's the kind of person who can get you. One, because if there's been a weakness to this defense, and there's been very few, it has been the rush defense. That is where they've struggled more than any other area of their defense combined, most realistically. And because of that run he had against Buffalo, and because of a lot of the runs, I don't know, it seems like he's averaging 27 yards a carry this year, he scares me. Because if he gets you for a couple, that's the path to losing. Devin, God, I can't get his name out.
Yeah.
Devin Achane gets a couple of long runs out there on Saturday, then you really start to run into problems defensively. He scares me more than Tua, more than Tyreek, more than Waddle, more than anyone on their defense. I'm scared of him. More than Mostert, who has like 25 touchdowns this year. Him. Achane is a problem. He's the guy who can make the difference between winning or losing. He scares me.
I think it's specific to the Chiefs, right? Because most teams are going to say Tyreek Hill. The reason why your answer is probably not Tyreek Hill is because the Chiefs have locked down number 1 wide receivers, and they locked him down already once this year. So I get it, right? Like that's why even though Tyreek Hill has the potential, as we know, to be explosive and take a 10-yard pass 70 yards, the Chiefs have done an amazing job against ones. And Achane is just the next most explosive player on the offense after Tyreek Hill. So I hear you. I think what's interesting, though, you could say you're more concerned than Mostert, but I do think Mostert's going to play and come back from the injury.
Sure.
And Mostert did have a hell of a year. So what's that balance? Look, the scheme that Mike McDaniel will run is going to have success anyway. against any team, and then you couple it with the Chiefs' lack of success stopping the run, that to me is why I think this game is under for the total. If you're wondering, like total 44 now, I got it at 45.5. It was 47 earlier in the week. That to me is why pace of play, if Miami is committed to the run, and I think they will be, they can move the ball. That'll be the question. Like, at some point, they can run, and then do they try to get something over the top to Tyreek? How did the Chiefs handle that? I also think the Chiefs should lean in on the run, by the way, in that Isaiah Pacheco should be a huge factor. But Achane is the guy that can take a 15-yard run to the house, to your point, right? Mostert's just a great back. But Achane's an explosive back. I understand. I just wonder, does his carries get limited because Mostert's back? Do his carries get limited because Mostert's back?
I mean, maybe. But, I mean, I don't know if that's a better thing because – in limited run, he can do damage. Like, that's the whole point. Like, when I said I feel like he's been, Achane's been averaging 20 yards a carry this year, it's because it's not enough hyperbole to actually be inaccurate. They're at their best, and I think that in a weird way, like, Mostert coming back doesn't scare me less of him because he gets to just come in there and be the spell back to Mostert, and all of a sudden, he's got fresh legs and can run all over you too. Like, I understand that you're like, well, maybe limiting his touches in some way can kind of go that way. He is averaging 7.8 yards per carry this season. I mean, he is just a one-stop shop from taking a touchdown 70 yards down the field. And because the Chiefs' defense has been so good at limiting those big plays all season long, that's where, like, the defense could look at like it's worse than it has in a long time. And because I think the Chiefs should run the ball a lot in this game, and especially because of the snow and the cold, I assume Miami will think the same thing and also try to exploit and use their rushing attack to go after him. Now, I'll say this. They used their rushing attack pretty effectively against Buffalo for about a quarter and a half, 2 quarters, and then Buffalo made the adjustment, and Miami had no offense remaining. So there is still a same thing that happened before. Spag's second-half defensive run that could slow down Achane on that regard. But it's just when he's in the game early on, I think we all got to take a deep breath worrying what could happen there.
Yeah, look, they'll have to have some sort of plan for that, or it goes back to, all right, do they move the ball down the field, but do the Chiefs buckle down in the red zone and who capitalizes there? I also think there's a certain extent, I think I know the answer to this, which coach is willing to be less arrogant with their play calling? I have brought this up time and time again with Andy Reid at times. Play calling arrogance. Doesn't mean he's not a great play caller and a genius, but there are times where I think we get into play calling arrogance, and I hope we're not talking about it on Monday on this show, where they can't help themselves. And Andy's not the only one in the league. Mike McDaniel, being the fact that he was the run game coordinator in San Francisco, I think he actually likes to run the ball. So my question was going to be, who's less likely to have play calling arrogance on Saturday for their team to win? I think the answer is Mike McDaniel. He, to me, is way more committed to the run. Probably has to be. Andy Reid, I'm a little skeptical.
Andy's, I mean, we got a lot of evidence that Andy Reid's never been committed to the run.
I know.
So, in an individual
Pacheco
game,
should carry the ball 20 times. Pacheco should carry the ball 20 times. Do you know how many times he's carried it
20 times this year?
I don't, but I know
I'm assuming it's 0.
I think it might be once, but I know that if you look at the last 4 or 5 games, he carried it like 13 times, 15 times, 18, and like 19. So they have been given the ball north of 15 times, but I think this is a 20-plus carry game or should be at least for Pacheco.
I'll say this. I'll allow for some passing touches that are behind the line of scrimmage that essentially count as runs.
Okay. All right.
For Pacheco, it doesn't have to be straight carries for me. He has carried the ball 20 times once this year. It was against the New York Jets. He went 20 for 115 and a score. He also had 3 catches for 43 yards. Man, that might have been his best game of the entire year. But yes, you're right. Over the he had 2 games off. But in his last 3 games in which he played, 18 for 110, 11 for 26 against the Raiders. We can just wash that game out of your brain. Yeah. And then 18 for 130. The game before that, 19 and 16 carries. So, yes, they have given him the ball more later in the season than they have earlier. This is also the benefit for where we had said, look, I understand you don't want him hurt. But the fact that Isaiah Pacheco has only played 2 games in the last 5, just as long as he's healthy for that thing, not a bad thing. The way he runs, he's going to get hurt a lot in the NFL and has already been dinged up pretty good in his first 2 seasons in the NFL. I just want him healthy for the postseason, so what you just said is plausible.
Yeah, and
they can give it to him 15 or 20 times.
You want to mention fresh legs for Achane. Well, with Pacheco not playing last week,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the fresh fresh legs for Pacheco apply here as well. And that's, with a lot, I think particularly Kelsey and Pacheco, if you're asking who benefited the most from not playing last week, who's been most beat up of the guys? Like Mahomes has had, I'm sure, a little ankle thing here or there, but Pacheco missed games due to injury. Kelsey missed a game at the very beginning of the season due to an injury, and he's just a little bit older. And he takes, he gets beat up, and they're physical with him around the line of scrimmage. So I think both Kelsey and Pacheco benefit the most for the time off, just in terms of having fresh legs. There's no question about that. And you would think the Chiefs can run because the front seven is so banged up for the Dolphins.
This should be a positive. Like, I totally get what you're saying. The problem with Miami's defense being the unit that's banged up, right? They got no linebackers. They got no defensive ends. There were a couple times this year that I fell into this trap where I'm like, look at this. A chance for the Chiefs offense to get right. This is the 26th ranked defense. They have not taken advantage, man. I'm a little worried that, they're not equipped to take advantage of any banged up defense. I'll just be honest. I haven't seen them do it all year. I kind of wish it was the offense that was hurt and not the defense, because I still think there's a limited peak for what advantage the Chiefs can take on any defense.
Well, I don't think the Chiefs' offense is suddenly fixed because of what they looked like against Cincinnati. But Cincinnati, one of the worst defenses in football, and right now with the injuries, the Dolphins aren't exactly great on defense. I mean, they're probably bottom 5 as well. So actually, against a team like the Dolphins, I could see the Chiefs' offense looking about as good as they did against Cincinnati, unless the weather hampers both of these offenses altogether. The question I still think offensively will be, if they can get through this Dolphins game, can they play at a higher level against a defense like the Bills, and if they're fortunate enough beyond that, obviously the Ravens. I still don't think the Chiefs have to be great on offense to win this game on Saturday because of, A, the defense anyway, but just the nature of the way the game's going to go and what the Chiefs' defense could be. This is not the game. All the concerns we've had all year, if they turn the ball over 2 times, we'll be very concerned.
Sure.
But if the Chiefs just play kind of how they played the last couple of weeks, take the Raiders game, the worst performance of Mahomes' career, out of it, if he plays like that, they will lose. Then I think the Chiefs can get past a team like the Dolphins.
Yeah, but this feels like the kind of game where you shouldn't have to sweat it as much because they have nothing on defense, man. I mean, they're just an absolute shell. It would just make me feel so much better, and I'm never going to say that they're going to score 30 points a game the rest of this postseason. Yeah. But, man, wouldn't it make you feel better that if up against the defense, that, again, signed 3 guys who are getting AARP memberships. Hell, Tamba Hali is the drum honoree for the Chiefs. Miami might sign him before the game and see if he can get on the field for them on defense. It'd be nice to see them take advantage of it, just take advantage of a team that has no one left on defense and drop 27. Yeah. Prove that when you need to put up that you can put up a little bit of points against a defense that's struggling, is what I'm asking, and has no one left healthy for them.
I certainly would feel good, but if I told you that the Chiefs beat the Dolphins 28-20, and then they go and play Buffalo the next week, be honest, are you truly feeling better about the offense?
No, I'm not feeling worse, though. To me, it's like if they score 17 points against Miami and win, I'll be happy that they won, but I'm like, well, they're not scoring enough against Buffalo.
Or would you just say it's the same story? It's the same story, and you'd also say this is what they've been all year anyway. We know they're going to have to win a game with their defense, and it was also terrible weather.
This is just the weather might move it a little bit, but this is one of those exceptions where there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to take advantage of that defense. Just none. You have the advantage. It lines up because of the Pacheco thing we just talked about. That lines up perfectly in your favor. You are far better on the offensive line than anything they can offer on the defensive line. They got no one who can tackle, no one who can cover Kelsey. They got nothing left. It's a shell of a defense remaining in Miami. So unless they got the world's greatest scheme coming their way, or they're getting ready to Bill Belichick it to circle back around and play Tyreek Hill also in the Deion Branch role at corner, I don't know why the Chiefs should be slowed down in this game.
Trash of the day.
All right, let's get to it. We all have smartphones, all have touchscreen phones, and you might have the screen protector on there, and I don't know how often you clean your phone screen or whatever. Just think about,
I got baby wipes around the house for kids, so I occasionally hit it with one,
Okay, so there's something called a mouth pad.
Okay.
That is being worked
I don't like
on.
the sound of it immediately. I'm just going to be honest with you. I just don't like the sound of it.
So touch screens are going hands-free with a new device that allows users to scroll through their smartphone using only your tongue. You thought people get sick in the wintertime before. MouthPad is a retainer-like trackpad chip that sits on the roof of your mouth. It made its debut at the CES, the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas this week. It can sense tongue movements, allowing users to scroll, type, make calls, and even play chess with a swipe or click of their tongue. Quote, it is a mouse for your mouth. Now,
Okay,
The
I
thought
understand this
behind
from like the disability standpoint.
The
Is that it?
idea behind it is to be a tool for those living with disabilities, those with a hand impairment or paralysis or whatever. That's a great development for that.
Sure.
If it's marketed just for that, but if it's anything more, because the company says they also plan to appeal to more than the intended market. Professionals who use their hands a lot, like mechanics or surgeons, have shown interest in the device. Great development for those that can't use their hands.
Be honest,
but
don't need my
otherwise-
surgeon texting with his mouth while he's inside taking my pancreas out. I would just prefer he not have access to his phone during said time.
I'm watching the video of it.
Dude.
Over the past 6 months, users have been testing out the product, including a current college freshman and mechanical engineering major has been using MouthPad as her primary input device for her computer and phone.
I did think that you were, when you were originally, I just assumed that this was going to be like a thing you plugged into your phone to make out with someone over your phone. That's what I assumed.
Oh, Cody.
That's what I assumed. That's what I thought
weird.
this was going.
That's weird. This is the Consumer Electronics Show, not the adult toy convention or whatever.
For someone in a long-distance relationship,
Oh, my goodness.
Somebody at a store now
you were going with it,
somebody
man.
at a store is hearing your idea and it's like, you know what? That's not so bad.
You know how disgusting that would be? You
Yes.
put a chip in your mouth and it
you can feel their tongue
simulated the
move.
feeling of that's gross. That's so gross.
my goodness.
That's so gross.
By the way, it probably already exists. Let's just be honest. You think I'm the first
I don't
person
know.
to speak that thing into
why don't you do a
existence?
little
Maybe.
Google? Go do a little Google search, Cody. Let me know how that turns out.
Someone says, what if your surgeon is YouTubing how to remove a pancreas? Concerning. I'll be honest.
They're wanting to change the song on their playlist.
I'm assuming this chip in your mouth, like that, they say it's like a retainer, so I'm assuming it's very removable. You can.
I think so.
I'm
Yeah, it looks like a
assuming-
mouth guard, honestly.
So it's removable. Again, if it's the intended use, if it truly is like, hey, it's going to be great for people that can't use their hand and they have a disability, hey, totally makes sense. Otherwise, though, I can't imagine this catching on. That's somebody that doesn't have, that has full use of their hands. Why on earth would you have this mouth thing and you're just gonna lick?
Oh God, no! Why?
You're not even really licking as much as you're simulating the movement of your tongue.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
still-
yeah.
Like it's not like you're licking the screen of your phone. I understand, but still, that you have to move your tongue to scroll. I don't know.
It's just no good. I don't like it. I mean, I do like it for the disability part. I don't understand how anybody who had function would want that option. It's not that hard to scroll with my hand.
The mouth pad is clear around your teeth. The center is a golden touchpad that is the contact point for the tongue. Inside, there's also a force sensor that picks up left and right clicks or can be mapped to other hotkeys. On the side, a small bump that holds the Bluetooth antenna and wireless charging pack sticks out and lays against your cheek. They do not recommend leaving in for meals, but it's safe to drink with.
Oh my God, no good. No.
So hang on. The touchpad or whatever is on the roof of your mouth. So is that correct? So do you need to act like you're dipping your pen into like you're put some ink in the quill and dip you poke the roof of your mouth with your tongue and then you scroll?
It senses your mouth. So let's say you
That's
move,
essentially just a trackpad up there.
Yeah, the scroll is
move your tongue around the
you
roof
move
of
your
your
tongue
mouth.
and so it scrolls
Oh,
up or
okay,
scrolls
okay.
down and then based on how it's imagine the touchpad of your laptop.
I can see how it would work, but I'm not interested.
I mean, for people that don't have use of their hands, this actually is probably a genius thing, right? We're talking it as of somebody that can use their hands. We're like, what? But if the true intention is for someone that
Someone says it's
has
so
a
you can
disability-
text your side piece while you're out with your girlfriend.
Oh,
You have your phone in your hand. They'll never know.
Oh my goodness.
Now, of course, the text line is making it sexual, of course, because that's what we do on the text line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You might want to take the retainer out.
There is some
I would think
sicko
so.
who will
Yeah.
find a way other than what it's meant to be used for to use it.
Yeah. People are
just
also
know
catching
how-
on to Drew talking about dipping his pen in ink.
Well, no, that was the best description I had for it.
He said a quill.
Are you secretly from the 1700s?
doing
calligraphy.
I do calligraphy for a half hour every single day after the show is done. I go and I practice it.
Man, who knew?
All right, that's the trash of the day here on Cody and Gold. All right, up next, though, we get right back into the huge news around coaching in college football and the NFL and brings back up, like we kind of hit on a little bit yesterday, the future of Andy Reid in Kansas City.
Cody and Gold. Watch the show on YouTube by subscribing to the @610 Sports KC channel. 610 Sports Radio.
If you're someone that wears contacts or glasses, like I used to be, you've probably at some point thought about, And it would be pretty nice not to have to look for my glasses in the morning, not to knock over the water on the nightstand searching for the glasses. I've definitely done that before. Maybe pack those contacts, remember to take out the contacts. All of that was part of my daily life until May of 2021. I called DuraVision. I went in for my free consultation. I found out I was a candidate for SBK Advanced LASIK. 2 days later, I was having my procedure. The very next day, I was driving right back into work. And right now, they have their friends and family offer, providing a savings of up to $1,000 on LASIK. This is for a limited time only. Think about this. It's typically reserved for family members of their surgery patients only, but now you can take advantage of it as well. Give DuraVision a call at 913-491-3330 or go online to DuraVision.com and tell them Gold from 610 sent you.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get wings the way you want them. Try Twin Peaks wings bone-in breaded, naked, smoked and grilled, or boneless in your favorite sauce or rub.
Teachers are teaching, students are learning, and the things that protect them every day are often taken for granted, but never taken for granted by Keller Fire and Safety. Keller expertly installs, services, and maintains school lockdown and access systems, intercom and communication systems, safety and security systems, and fire protection and alarms. Get people out when they need to be out and keep people out who don't need to be in. Parents can feel better about where their kids spend the day when it's a Keller Fire and Safety school.
Keller Fire and Safety. KellerFire.com. It's touchdown, Kansas City for homeowners. When you sell your home as is, in any condition, to RexBuysKC.com. This is Mitch Holter's voice of the Chiefs. And now, sell your home to Rex. No matter the condition or situation, with closing details designed to fit your schedule, needs, and wants.
Thanks, Mitch. This is Rex, owner of RexBuysKC.com, your local home buyer. We offer instant cash offers on the first visit. We pay you more. We give you unlimited options on how to sell your home as is with no out-of-pocket repair cost, no closing cost, fees, or commissions, and will close in as little as 7 days. Call now at 816-330-6000 or go online to RexBuysKC.com.
Rex will buy your home for more with huge cash offers, fair and honest dealings, and options that make selling your home quick and hassle-free.
Homeowners, call now, 816-330-6000 or go online at RexBuysKC.com.
Hey, it's Kling, live today until 1 o'clock at the Hy-Vee in Shawnee on 63rd Street. With the Chiefs clinching a 9th straight trip to the playoffs, Hy-Vee will send one lucky fan to the wild card home playoff game. The winner is going to receive 4 Chiefs playoff tickets, 1 parking pass, 1 $100 Visa gift card. All you have to do is come by, see the gigantic Hy-Vee supercart. They'll be cruising the streets of Kansas City. Register to win the Chiefs tickets by scanning the QR code on the side of the Hy-Vee supercart. Here with me today at the Shawnee location at 63rd Street till 1. Then make other stops throughout the metro, including Lee's Summit East, Shawnee, and Overland Park today and tomorrow. If you can't make it here today, be sure to check out those other locations. While you're here, take advantage of steak night. Enjoy a delicious, perfectly prepared steak, potatoes, veggies, and a roll for just $10. Bring the whole family, dine in or carry out. It's $10 steak night only at Hy-Vee. I also have 2 autographed footballs, some Chiefs swag to give away as well. So come see me to register to win. Again, at the Hy-Vee in Shawnee until 1 on 610 Sports Radio.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text Sizzle to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text SIZZLE to 42424. That's Sizzle to 42424.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com
an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Discover, this is Daniela.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great, but with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Do you like asparagus and mushroom sorbet? I've got leftovers.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
This report is brought to you by Special Olympics Missouri, revealing the champion in all of us. Join Special Olympics Missouri and your Missouri law enforcement for the exhilarating polar plunge at Longview Lake on January 27th. By raising just $75, swap your winter chill for a heart-pounding thrill. Let's get freezing for a reason. Register now at somo.org/plunge to make a big splash for inclusion.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Half Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner, the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
You remember, was it a couple years ago, we brought up the idea of doing a holiday Chiefs cookbook?
Yeah,
now, Drew
I do.
wasn't here yet.
Mama McKinnon's mac and cheese was really the beginning of that conversation when Jarek McKinnon came on the show and talked about his mom's macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, we had McKinnon on the show. We asked him, like, what's the family recipe? And he's like, Mama McKinnon's mac and cheese. And then we started thinking, and we talked about doing a Chiefs-themed cookbook based off of what Chiefs players wanted.
It's correct.
Now,
Never
look,
came to fruition.
Look, this is our fault because we had 2 years to do it. We did bring up the idea on the air. And we know they're always listening out at One Arrowhead Drive to the show. That's not even a joke, by the way. And guess what they have started doing?
Wait, the Kansas City Chiefs?
They have come out with the Kingdom Cookbook. Oh. The other day it was Patrick Mahomes. Today I just saw it. Bolton family dressing, a favorite of Nick Bolton. You can check out the recipe. They've already released.
The Chiefs ripped us off?
Did they
rip us off?
It's not even we had 2 years to do it. We didn't do it, you know? It's our fault. It's our fault. I just wanted people to know that we definitely had the idea on the air 2 years ago. We didn't go forward with it. My guess is we would have ran into some issues because they were able to just ask any player the recipe. They would have probably said we're not allowed to do that or something like that. But, the Chiefs have a Kingdom Cookbook with players' family recipes, which we dropped the ball. We could have done it 2 years ago.
That was not even like, maybe was that kind of our idea? I'm just going to be very clear. This is the exact idea we had.
It was.
To the letter.
Really
this is what we said we were going to do.
Specifically family recipes. Yeah. And we had themes planned and everything.
Look, in fairness, you're right. That's on us.
We waited 2 years. What do you mean?
I'd be mad at the Chiefs for stealing the idea, but what am I supposed to do here?
We didn't do it.
We actually talked about it off the air a lot too, like how to execute it, how to make this idea plausible. That's probably pretty close to what the title would have been.
If you got a great idea, you can't wait 2 years and be upset someone else takes the idea.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay.
I just wanted to fill you in on that. I didn't know if you had seen.
That's tough. That's a tough day for us, you know?
So I'll let you know.
Now somebody else is going to get a peacock in their radio studio because we mentioned this on the air and we didn't make it happen.
Look, that one I'll be upset about. If somebody else does, and then I'll call PETA on their behalf, actually.
You'll get
we got cock blocked.
Did we?
So,
Peacock.
you know, the peacock, yeah.
Did we in any way, out of curiosity, Drew, did we get the official no from the family farm in which...
Technically, no. I was just told that there is it's a very slim chance.
I think maybe we got to send a follow-up text.
But they've got my number. They said in case if anything changes is what the guy told me.
Okay, so they pretty much hit us with the no, and then they're like, we'll call you if we change it to a yes.
Yeah.
He did say he would reach out to somebody.
Okay. Well, maybe a follow-up call's in order then. Maybe it's not completely out of the question that we would get a Peacock still in studio.
I'm not thinking that's happening.
I'm also not thinking that's happening.
Tomorrow?
We talk about a lot of things. I swear to God, if someone starts C&G Pizza next week, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind.
Well, that would just be weird. Why would they start C&G Pizza? Why would they name it C&G?
But I'd be depressed, okay? We already lost out that spot to guys, which they do fine work. I got no complaints
I don't
here.
know. It could be Corey and Gardner. I don't know.
Who? Those are real names.
Where did you come?
I just
Gardner.
Where did you come?
C&G.
I mean, I get it, but that was just right. I just didn't know that those were the first two.
Those were the first
Corey
two.
and Gardner. Those sound like good old boys. Those guys are riding. They're not starting a pizza shop. They're riding ATVs.
Someone says
they're duck hunting.
Someone says Chiefs and GEHA Pizza, C&G Pizza.
They're gonna rip up.
They would make sure
they
make sure they spell it out, though. You know.
Yeah, you're right. They must listen to the show because.
Oh no, they do.
You guys talked about Pacheco needing to get fed, and he was fed. Rasheed Rice.
Yeah,
had
they all listen.
The deep
Drew.
shot.
They all listen.
They must be.
You know.
God, they heard that idea, and then they took 2 years to develop it, but they got it done.
Mm-hmm. Props.
That's
Props,
the difference,
man. Props.
Okay, so Belichick and Saban.
Uh-huh.
Belichick still wants to coach. That was obvious based on his press conference today. And again, this is how he opened it.
Morning. Seen this many cameras since we signed Tebow.
Honestly, not a bad way to open.
A little joke for Bill Belichick.
Little joke. And then Nick Saban retiring after a long time at Alabama and 6 national championships there, 7 total for his college career. I'm not surprised to find out that the very first name that gets mentioned after Pete Carroll, who was the oldest coach in the NFL, is not a coach right now. Bill Belichick, currently not a coach, was the second oldest coach in football. And Nick Saban, one of the oldest coaches in all of college football's gone. Guess who is the current active oldest coach in all of the NFL because Bill Belichick doesn't have a job? It's Andy Reid. Of course Andy Reid's name was going to be mentioned in this, especially because Mike Florio had brought up his name as a potential of could this be his last postseason? And honestly, Nick Saban and Bill Belichick also seem like, and Pete Carroll also seem like lifer football guys. So if it could happen to them, it could happen to anyone. I remind you that at least one of those guys is still coaching. Pete Carroll's expressed an interest in still coaching. And Nick Saban is the only one who's walking away from it.
And Andy is 6 years younger than all of
those guys.
So it's notable to bring up, no doubt, because he's now the next in line, if you will, on an age trajectory. But we all expect Belichick to get a job in the next week or so. So that changes right away. But just from tenure perspective too, Mike Tomlin, 17 years with the Steelers. That's the longest tenured coach in the NFL.
Then John Harbaugh second,
and
Reid
Harbaugh
third.
16. Andy's at 11. Then it's like Sean McDermott at 7 and Sean McVay at 7. Sean McVay, by the way, is still how old do you think?
45? He got the job when he was in his 30s.
Sean McVay is 37.
Oh my God, he got that job at 30?
Yeah, that's what's crazy about him. He's only 37 years old.
You're trying to tell me that if Sean McVay wants to coach just as long as Andy Reid does, he's got another 30 years in the NFL?
Yeah.
3-0?
Yeah.
He's not going to coach that long.
Started at 30.
Remember we talked about earlier about how, if I were Nick Saban, I would never do a TV gig. I would just take my hundreds of millions of dollars and I would just go sit on a warm beach somewhere. McVay will do that. McVay is not coach until he's 65 years old.
Or should he?
He will go find something to kick around and enjoy his life outside of that in his big giant mansion with it,
he's got a
beautiful
newborn.
wife.
He's got a newborn.
And his newborn baby. He'll just get out of it.
But he could also come back. He could do what we were talking. If you're Sean McVay, you could take a 5-year break like Gruden did, go broadcast for Fox or whatever, and then come back and coaching, Cody, and he'd still only be 44 or 43 years old.
If Andy Reid, presuming no major health thing comes up with Andy Reid over the next few years, I think Andy's got at least 4. I don't know why I feel that way still, considering the rumors around it. I can't get over the fact that even let's look at these other guys. Nick Saban, look, it's Alabama. That wheel would keep churning, but you don't have anything left to prove, right? Bill Belichick's not leaving the sport. He's just leaving the team. So even he's not walking away. I feel like to walk away, the whole thing comes back to the Mahomes thing. I don't see it. I understand that these have been the surprise ones and Andy Reid's name's going to come up next, but I just don't see it.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot. I mean, go back to even the first Super Bowl win for Andy after the Miami Super Bowl, in Miami, I should say, against the Niners. And there was question right then, okay, how many more rings can he get? And, is he only coaching for 2 or 3 more years? Here we are, it's 2024, and there's no signs that that's changing. And, yeah, it goes for anybody, and I understand people want to view it differently for Andy than other coaches, and I get it. But as long as there's not a major health problem that prevents him from coaching and changes that path, I don't think you give up an opportunity for someone that's been in the game as long as he has to continue coaching a quarterback in their prime, and not just any quarterback, the best quarterback in the league, and someone that might go down as one of the two, if not the best quarterback in football.
You know, the most interesting part about this is like seeing the end from the other side. Let's say it's not Andy who makes the decision. And I know it's easy to be like, everyone gets a choice, and they say, Bill Belichick didn't, Pete Carroll didn't, and those guys have been with their organizations forever. So Andy may not always get a say in whether, what would it take? Like, that's serious. What would it take for the Chiefs and Andy Reid to mutually part ways? As in, Andy still wants a job in the NFL, let's say 5 years from now. 5 years from now, Andy Reid still wants a job in the NFL, but it ain't going to be for the Chiefs. How bad would it have to get? I mean, I think they have to miss the playoffs 3 times.
Yeah, I don't
Two
think
times. I think, like, things that you can't even, like, reasonably predict could even occur.
Well, again, because if Tom Brady was 33 years old when they it's different. You know, Tom Brady was getting older anyway, so it was easier to part ways. Like here, there's no like that even scenario doesn't apply here because
it's something that have to happen with the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that 7 years ago, none of us would predict we'd be sitting here in 2024 saying Bill Belichick is leaving the Patriots organization. I get that. None of us would have thought that in 2017 or whatever. But the difference also with the whole Brady thing is it got to the end where Brady knew he only had a year or two left. And so it was much easier for him to say, all right, it's me or him, and I'm out. 5 years from now, Patrick Mahomes is still going to be, 33 or 34 years old or something or whatever. I mean, it's just different.
If they could go back in time when that ultimatum was clearly made, I think, and he said, it's either me or Tom. Kraft chooses Tom, right?
Well, no, Kraft chose the wrong guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he could go back in time.
Yeah.
He would reverse if he gets a time machine, he's Marty McFly, he goes back in time. And Bill Belichick says, it's me or Tom. You say, it's been nice seeing you, Bill. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. It's hard to imagine that you wouldn't do it the other way around now and not just try to surround stuff.
Would the answer be different if, so we've seen what's happened with, Mac Jones just is not that guy. That's a big part of this.
Oh, yeah.
But if Brady would have gone to the Bucs and just lost in the first round of the playoffs, do you think you'd feel as strongly that it was still the wrong decision? You know what I mean? Brady won the Super Bowl, so it's over. It's done. Clearly, he still had it. Okay, he wouldn't have won a Super Bowl, unfortunately, against the Chiefs the next year, which is just ridiculous. The fact that it was February, we all thought he retired or whatever, and then whatever. Yeah. Anyway.
You're going back frustrated now?
Yeah, I remember I was sitting at a restaurant. I know exactly where I was when I found out Brady was not retiring, actually. Do you think you'd feel strongly if Brady just would have had a 9-win season, 10-win season, lost in the first round of the playoffs?
Sure, but I know what the result was.
No, I know. I'm just curious. Was
that's
it
why it's a time machine
Super Bowl
conversation.
Swing?
I think it does because that he was still because there were real questions. Tom Brady was well over 40 years old. There were real questions about whether or not he had enough juice for one more run. And we all knew that those Patriots rosters weren't particularly talented, but it was if you got a talented roster, could Tom Brady still do it one more time at 43 years old? I didn't know. I wasn't sure that was the case. I understand how Robert Kraft came to that decision at that time, but also, he made the wrong call. He should have gone with Tom. He should have moved on from Belichick and had some other coach.
He obviously made the wrong call now that we know how it all played out. I think I still would be – the answer would be the same still, but would Belichick be leaving the Patriots organization today, though, if, they didn't have Mac Jones as their quarterback, and instead they actually had a guy that was worth a damn. It's because it's also some of that.
This is what
Belichick's the GM, which is why you and I have talked about whoever hires Belichick, and multiple teams will have interest. Are they letting him be a GM or not? I just saw a report out of D.C. from Grant Paulson, who I do a show with on Saturdays, and he said a source of his tells him that they're already down to 2 finalists to be the head of their football ops. Which means that they're not going to obviously give football operational control to Belichick or whoever they end up hiring. It also is good news if you're worried about, not good news for us, not for the individual, but there was reports that, Borgonzi was getting requested to interview with the Commanders for their top football job. According to that report, they're already down to 2 finalists, and it's not him. I don't think he's even interviewed.
This is what I kind of like about the Belichick move from the perspective you were just talking about is, just as long as Bill Belichick lands in a favorable situation, we'll get the answer on whether or not it was just he chose the wrong quarterback and he's just like any other coach. Get a bad quarterback, be a bad team, the end. Right?
But isn't that the selling point to the Chargers that he knows he has one?
Here's the thing that's been a real knock. Yes, but here's the thing that's been a real knock on Belichick over these last 5 years is because we could just thrust it on Mac Jones and Cam Newton and everyone they had in between. That exact same 5-year period, who the hell has been starting at quarterback for the Steelers? Still make the playoffs, man. Still win football games. still get the damn job done. He's got Mason Rudolph starting in a playoff game. It's his fourth quarterback this year. Like, no offense, Bill. You got 5 years of this quarterback. You could have changed quarterbacks. That's another stubborn thing. Where
the answer, though, is the same, Cody. It's the GM stuff. Like, I think you're right. Mike Tomlin's done it, but also
he didn't have to do both jobs.
Yeah, I mean, I think the difference is that goes back to the concern. I don't think Bill Belichick is a worse head coach today than he was 5 years ago. I really don't. I think he is. I
think he's the greatest coach of all time. I also think he's a worse head coach than he was 5 years ago.
So there's no way to prove this. Obviously, we just disagree.
Sure.
So I don't think he is any different as a coach. I think the GM mistakes continue to mount, and you have a crappy roster, an expansion type roster right now in New England. And when you have a crappy roster, and even if you're as good of a head coach, I still believe Belichick is, you have limitations. And that's a problem. And I think it's more about still the personnel decisions, which is why I'm with you that I don't believe wherever he lands next week or whatever, or this weekend, that they should allow him to be a general manager as well.
Yeah, I think he's gotten worse at both jobs. This is the same thing. Like, this does occur in sports. And look, you're right. It's difficult to prove until the time's too late. Sometimes the game passes you by, both from a GM or a coaching perspective. Things pass you by. The defense has never passed him by. That's what's been so weird about Bill, is that from that, it hasn't. But it doesn't seem like he's adjusted offensively to the way the league has gone over the last 5 or 10 years. Again, maybe quarterback, and maybe some of his own doing as GM.
Yeah, bad OC hires too, right? Which is all part of it.
We'll get a better sense of which one of us is right in this scenario with a fresh start and a better roster and honestly a better situation than New England and his fingerprints all over a new spot, whether that be Atlanta or the Commanders or the Chargers or anything in between. We'll get a sense of it. Honestly, I hope it's not the Chargers. On the off chance Bill does still have it, I'd rather they just choose some no-name whatever. Or
I hope
Dan
he goes.
Quinn.
I hope he goes to Atlanta or he goes to the Commanders and they don't let him be the GM and he's just there. I think that's a great fit. Yeah, I don't want him going to the Chargers. I don't think it's the same feeling as we would have had. To your point, though, still a couple years ago, probably if Belichick was in the division.
Sure.
Fair or not. I mean,
I just don't like the idea of Belichick getting a quarterback again.
Yeah, and he would. You would have one in Justin Herbert. This is why this coaching carousel stuff is fun. This one's wild just because, again, it's not often, if not ever, that you have a coach of this stature available. I know Andy Reid was available, 10 plus years ago, 13 years ago, whatever, or 11 years ago. But Belichick also has 6 rings. You never have a coach like this on the market. It's nuts. Like the Chiefs traded for Dick Vermeil. Okay, still way different. Way different. Yeah. This is Belichick, who most likely is going to end up as the all-time wins leader in NFL history, and he's available right now.
He's 15 wins away, just so everybody knows. Yeah. This is what makes the postseason interesting, and what we're talking about is it kind of relates back to Mahomes. The more I look at it, I can't get over the fact, like, it almost feels like sometimes we have to have these conversations on the show where you're like, hey, just real quick, let's not undersell Mahomes' chances to go to the Super Bowl again this year because of what he accomplishes in the postseason in general. The man is getting ready to enter his 6th postseason. We know he's never played on the road, so that would be a first if it's like Chiefs-Buffalo or Chiefs-Ravens or whatever down the road. If he is about 2 years away from, if he wins one Super Bowl in the next 2 years, he's going to end up being the second most prolific playoff performer ever. 7 years into his career, 6 years into his career. If he were to win the Super Bowl this year, he'd be the second most accomplished quarterback in NFL history. I understand there'd be 2 guys with 4 rings, and one of those guys would be, like when we're talking about like Montana and Bradshaw and those guys that have him, he'd be more accomplished than them because of the window in time in which he would have already done it. He is only if he went to the Super Bowl, we said earlier yesterday, he would be second all time. He'd be tied for third all time in playoff wins at quarterback. He's 2-3 years away just from a win at a time from being second, third, fourth in almost every single major category in the postseason.
I mean, that just expands out what we've known, though, right? I mean, he is off to the best start that any quarterback has ever had for their career. That's the path he's on.
So. Tom Brady had won 3 rings by year 5. Is that right?
You have to double check on that.
It's close.
He is off to either the best or the second best.
You think statistically he's off to a better start than Tom. Tom just had more rings.
I think overall it's the best start for a quarterback's career. And so what you're saying that if he wins another one in 2 years, then then the pace and path and where he already puts him, that's what the advantage he had. The minute he stepped on a football field, he had instant success. And getting that first ring was so massive at his age when he got it on his rookie contract.
No, and that's a huge difference, at least on that end. Going back through, Tom By year 6, he would have had 3 rings. So I guess to match the rings, Mahomes would have to do it. But in every other category, he's blowing him out of the water, including postseason statistics for this early stage. Like, I think what was shocking about it is like when I really started to dive into the postseason stuff, like I know Tom Brady's ahead of everyone else and's got like a million stats that like most people will never touch. What I didn't realize is how close Patrick Mahomes is to literally any other quarterback who's ever played in the postseason. It does not matter the caliber of guy you're thinking of. He is neck and neck statistically, as in he's going to pass them all before he's 30. That's what stood out to me, is that by age 30, Patrick Mahomes will have pretty much everybody but Brady covered. Now, rings, that's still the question, right? We don't know how many he'll have of those over the next few years. And he'll still need to get to, but if just getting to 3 makes him one of only 5 quarterbacks ever to do that. Like, that's it. One more ring and he's one of 5, and then he'll have all the other statistics. This is what's been so impressive about the run and why I never ruled him out of the postseason. The one thing, like, I've run into a bunch of people, and I'm sure you have too. Your buddy at the bar, Gold, would be like, Chiefs can't win it this year. I'm like, look, I don't think.
Heard that a few times.
I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year, okay? But I want to make a distinct difference between what I think and what I know is possible. Patrick Mahomes can win the Super Bowl this year. There's no way I'll ever doubt this man in the postseason in his career at this stage. You?
No, that's why I said I actually kind of look forward to, I said it yesterday, look forward to if Mahomes wins this weekend and goes on the road to Buffalo next weekend.
Getting to be the underdog
and
in Buffalo.
And people counting him out. I kind of love that setup. And it goes back to that. Yeah, I mean, I think all 3 of us would say, do we think they're actually going to the Super Bowl? I think we all would answer no. But I don't think it is this, 5% chance that you would make it out to be for some people. I think with Mahomes, it's always better than a 5% chance once he's in the postseason. And
no, it's probably like at least a 1 in 4 shot.
Yeah. Again, we went through the odds. Like, we actually looked at the odds the other day. And the Chiefs have the 3rd best odds to get out of to the AFC. You just don't know what breaks are going to happen. I mean, there's also the injury factor for any team. You just don't know, man. And it doesn't. I mean, anything can change. Like you just never know when you have a quarterback still at his level that all of a sudden it does just randomly click. Normally we're like, hey, we haven't seen it for 17 games. I'm with you. We haven't seen it where this offense, but it wouldn't be the first time in sports history that for a 2-game stretch, all of a sudden an offense looks great again. It just wouldn't. It doesn't usually happen, but if there was ever a time where it could happen,
and if there's a quarterback coach combo in which it would happen,
Andy Reid, yeah.
Yeah, that feels like.
And it's just that goes not to spit. The Bills again. That's a team that I think has been severely overinflated based off of winning 5 in a row, which is a hard thing to do in the league, no doubt. But they're not. I'm sorry, they're not dominant. They've been winning games to their credit. We all thought they were toast. They proved me and a lot of people wrong. They're not dominant though.
No.
And the only dominant team, semi-dominant team in the AFC is the Baltimore Ravens, and you're not going to have to worry about them till the AFC title game. So therefore, the Chiefs do have a chance to get to an AFC title game. And it's not a crazy stretch.
No.
To think that they can do it. They got a tough route to get to a Super Bowl, no doubt. But it's just not this impossible journey.
Not with Mahomes.
All right, coming up next, though, I do want to talk to someone in Miami. We've been talking about the Dolphins and how on earth are they coming to KC in this weather and how's that going to impact the playing performance from Tua. Let's talk with Channing Crowder. He does some radio down at 560 WQAM, our sister station in Miami, plus hosts the Pivot podcast. He joins us next.
You're listening to Cody and Gold. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every weekday starting at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Ring in the new year with the ultimate timeless gift, a diamond from Diamonds Direct. Whether you're ready to pop the question or celebrating a lifetime of love in 2024, Diamonds Direct can make this New Year's one to remember forever. Diamonds Direct is the area's destination for exquisite diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and our nationwide price guarantee ensures you'll get the best value, period. To showcase that spectacular diamond, we have literally thousands of designer settings from all the top names like Tacori, Verragio, Simon G, A. Jaffe, and many more. And our experts will guide you every step of the way with the education you want and the respect you deserve. Engagement rings, wedding bands, eternity bands, fashion rings. At Diamonds Direct, we specialize in the ultimate symbol of love, and we welcome the opportunity to celebrate with you. So start the new year with some new excitement, new hope, and some new bling. Diamonds Direct. In Leawood at 119th and Row, across from Town Center. Proud to call Kansas City home. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Old Shawnee Pizza has expanded to the Crossroads with their OSP Express. Go to ospexp.com to order and use any third-party delivery system located in the Crossroads or stop in 16th and Campbell. Go to ospexp.com to order. Old Shawnee Pizza, now with 3 locations.
As good as the regular season is, there's nothing like NFL Super Wild Card Weekend. 6 games, 3 days. For these teams, it's win or go home. But you'll always have a spot in the playoffs with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W, like Travis Kelce with an anytime touchdown and the Chiefs winning on the money line. So if you want to follow my picks, go to FanDuel right now. New customers get started with $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com/610Bob to join today. That's FanDuel.com/610Bob. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
This week, raise a glass to your home team's Tully touchdown with Tullamore Dew, the original triple blended, triple distilled, smooth sipping Irish whiskey. When it's game time, it's Tully time. Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, imported by William Grant & Sons Incorporated, New York, New York.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Hey, it's Kling at the Hy-Vee in Shawnee until 1 o'clock, 63rd Street with the Hy-Vee Supercart. Be looking for the Supercart. It's got a QR code on the side, and guess what? One lucky fan is going to win Wild Card Home Playoff game tickets. There you go. Winner's going to receive 4 Chiefs playoff tickets, 1 parking pass, and 1 $100 Visa gift card. Come by today, see the gigantic Hy-Vee Supercart. It's cruising the streets of Kansas City in celebration of a 9th straight trip to the playoffs. Register to win the Chiefs tickets by scanning the QR code on the side of the Hy-Vee Supercart that's here with me today, Shawnee location until 1 o'clock. The Supercart's going to make other stops today and tomorrow as well, including Lee's Summit East, Shawnee, and Overland Park. I also have a couple of autographed footballs and some Chiefs swag to give away today. I get the Hy-Vee in Shawnee until 1 o'clock. Don't forget about Hy-Vee's Score the Savings Fuel promotion. Just shop Hy-Vee the day after the game. Score a fuel discount equal to the Chiefs score based on the amount you spend. So if the Chiefs score 42 points, you save 42 cents a gallon when you spend $42. It's that easy, only at Hy-Vee.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-973-7809 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-973-7809. That's 800-973-7809. What do you have to lose? Call 800-973-7809. Again, 800-973-7809.
Gas, groceries, utilities, you name it, the price of everything is going up, and if you're stuck in a bad timeshare with rising maintenance fees, the financial burden can be crushing. It is time to get your finances in order and get the real facts about that timeshare that you are stuck in and your options to get rid of it. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has been helping families out of horrible timeshares for over 10 years and has put together a complete timeshare exit information kit that he will send you absolutely free. To date, over 30,000 families have trusted Wesley Financial Group to help them out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares. Get the facts about how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation. Simply call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit and see how you can become timeshare free. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. Once again, 800-462-3333.
NFL playoff coverage on 610 Sports Radio is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views. Subscribe to the 610 Sports KC YouTube page for exclusive video content from Cody and Gold on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs and your home for Royals baseball. 610 Sports Radio. KCSP Kansas City. WDAF HD2 Liberty. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
I see you, Drew. I see you with this. I see what you're doing there. I got you.
A little too on the nose.
I understand. I see what you were trying to do there. Don't forget
some Pitbull or something.
Warm us up a little.
I got you. Don't forget, tomorrow night we got our third annual Playoff Pilsner beer release party out at Cinder Block Brewery. Starts at 6 o'clock. Dusty will be doing after hours. We'll have the entire 610 crew out there. F325 barbecue. It is going to be a fantastic night, and things seem to be getting better with the weather forecast from a precipitation standpoint for Friday night's beer release party. So hope to see you guys there tomorrow night. We know on Saturday night, it's just going to be miserably cold. But we're used to the cold up here, Cody. How about our friends down in Miami, though? I want to go out to the 610 hotline and welcome in Channing Cratter, who does radio with our sister station, 560 WQAM. He's also the host of the Pivot podcast. Channing, it's great to have you back on the show. I think we had you on a couple years ago as well. What is the conversation in Miami just with the weather right now and how you guys perceive these negative 20 wind chills that we're expecting Saturday?
It's not positive for us. It's not being down here, but just the style of play. You know, that wide open offense we run, you know, the quick hitting stuff, just the speed of it, you know, guys, fast guys. Now it's cold and it's gonna, you know, be a little tighter. Tyreek might run a 4-3 and not a 4-2 on Saturday night. But so that's kind of the talk. But yeah, the weather has taken over. But I think schematically, like, this is going to be a real good game. We saw the first time the Dolphins were down by 7 driving and having that 3rd and 4th down that went terrible and Tua fumbled and everything happened. But I think this is going to be a hell of a game on Saturday night.
We always say, like, oh, man, I wouldn't want to have to tackle anybody in this weather. You did have to tackle people in the cold weather. What the heck's that like?
Oh, man, it's my coldest game was Kansas City. I think Tyler Thigpen was the quarterback.
2008.
Back then. 2008.
I went to that game. It was miserable, Channing, and I was just standing there.
It's crazy you say that because that was the coldest game, and they made fun of you when you were over there piled up. Everybody on the team was piled up by the space heaters, and it just wasn't. We ended up winning, And funny story, Joey Porter convinced me pregame to go out with no jacket on, no sweater. We're men, we're not gonna let the weather beat us. Both of our asses ran right back inside after 15 seconds of being out there. It was ridiculous. I think that was like 9 or 10 degrees. It was right above negative. But it's tough. The ground is hard. Falling down, like hitting the ground is probably the worst part because it's concrete pretty much. No matter how great the grass is, that soil is going to freeze up on you because it's moist. So yeah, it is different. It is playing in the cold is 10 times more. I'd rather play in 120 degrees, and I have in Dolphin Stadium, than playing in that 20, 30, 10 degrees weather. It's a big difference.
We can talk about that impressive Miami offense in just a minute, but defensively, I mean, look, Channing, I'm not trying to call football players like different old, right? I'm 39. And so when I call football players old, that just means they're like younger than me, but just older than everyone else. Defensively, they're just signing a bunch of geriatrics to play defensive end. Do they have enough to stop Kansas City?
I think they do. In all those additions to Justin Houston's and, these guys they added Jason Pierre-Paul early in the year and cut him. They knew, after Jalen Phillips went out. So even Manley Chubb, going out, that was our two guys, our two money guys, big money, pass rushers. But they're just signing guys. They're not going to do too much. Melvin Ingram was out there covering tight ends last week. So they know at that position of defensive end, we need some help. Is why they signed all those guys. So all those guys, pretty much, they're going to get 15, 20 reps max. They just try to see if we can just go over there and breathe on Patrick. Go over there and slap his back every now and again and make him feel uncomfortable, because that's what you have to do to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. But yeah, with Bradley Chubb went down after Jalen Phillips' Achilles tear. That's the weakest point, I would say. That's the weakest point of our defense right now is pass rusher. So that's why they went out and got all these 35. Bruce Irvin, who was a friend of mine, actually. Hey, Bruce is a couple years younger than me, and I've been retired 13 years. So yeah, they're trying to find a couple guys that can just breathe on Patrick, make Pat a little uncomfortable in that pocket because of the injury bug. They hit the Dolphins, which is terrible. Terrible time to hit him late in the season when you really can't go and get a 27-year-old. Late in week 18, only person available is 36 and 38-year-old guys.
We're talking to Shannon Crowder. He's a host down at 560 WQAM in Miami, also the Pivot podcast. How much do you guys buy into the playoff record of both these teams against playoff teams, I should say? Like the Chiefs are 1-4 against the current playoff field. I believe you guys down there like 1-4, 1-5. But the point differential is way different. Like Miami's like negative 91 scoring differential against those teams. How much of it is discussed when you look at the competition and the Dolphins, other than the Cowboys game, that they haven't fared well?
Oh yeah, both Bills games. The one that got to me was the Titans, because that's the one loss they have. Because it was both Bills, Eagles, KC, and then there was one other team they lost to. But that Titans game was the one that kind of was a gut punch down here, because the Titans aren't a good football team. But it means something. You're beating up on the Jets. You're beating up on these teams that you can't really play. And then the record is better. They end up losing the AFC East last week when they lost to the Bills and all, but. It is concerning, because I would say the Baltimore game is when it kind of hits you, where it's like, okay, you're playing a legit Super Bowl contender and you lose by 40, and that's when it hit us. Where, like I said, even the KC game, have a chance to win late. You know what I'm saying? There was a 7-point game. We had to drive at the end. You could tie it late. The Eagles game. It was a single digit deficit in the fourth quarter, and then the Eagles end up, winning and going down and scoring the last points. But you were encouraged by those games with the playoff contending teams. Even the Buffalo game, the Dolphins had a chance to win that second one late when they lost to Week 18. But that Baltimore Ravens game is the one that put that trigger in my mind of I know we have the number one scoring offense. I know Tua is leading the league in passing. I know all that's going on, and it's great in totality for the regular season, but I'm not saying it. Mike McDaniel said it. We're not here to win the regular season. We're not here to go to the playoffs. We went to the playoffs last year. That's cute. We're here to make some noise in the playoffs, and that's what they're going to have to do. And honestly, coming up to Kansas City, that's the difference on Saturday night at 8 o'clock is if this team is really better, because the record's better. But last year we got our butt whooped in the first round of the playoffs. Now we can't just come up there and get our butt whooped again in the first round of the playoffs. There's no progression postseason, and good teams want to progress in the postseason. It's cute to get in the playoffs when you're a good team.
We certainly know what it's like to face Tyreek Hill here in Kansas City more than others. I had said earlier, more than even him in this game because of how good the Chiefs secondary is, I'm afraid of Devin Achane. More than any other player on the field, he scares me for the Chiefs to get a loss. Am I right in being scared of what he's capable of?
I have been saying this all season, and people laugh at me, and they're kind of finally coming around with the law, which is crazy. It takes losses for people to listen to you. The Dolphins are they're a running team. In the Denver game, where everybody loved the 70-point game, they had 260 yards rushing, and Tua had 250. So, if they need Tua to go throw the ball, in which Kansas City does a lot, where Patrick's going, 36 or 45 and stuff like that, throwing the ball almost 50 times a game. The Dolphins' offense can't function in that manner, which is almost what I think, when you're in negative 20-degree wind chill, you're not going to throw the ball 50 times. It doesn't make sense. But the Dolphins are a rushing team. Achane, Jeff Wilson, he's the banger. He's big as hell. He's 6'3", 225 or something. And then if you can get Raheem Mostert back, who it's crazy to say, I know Tua's leading the league in passing yards and top 5 and all this stuff. Raheem Mostert has the most rushing touchdowns in the NFL. And that kind of shows you to your question where this Dolphins team is based around the run. Then you bring people up. You bring people in the box. You try to blitz, run blitzing. And now you have the Tyreek one-on-one with that little out motion when you get Tyreek with the head of steam coming downfield on the skinny post, on the comebacks. And then every time you start jumping routes, then he's going to hit you for a deep one. But this offense, this Mike McDaniel offense, just like Kyle Shanahan with the 49ers, McVay does it sometimes as well. It's like it's based around the run, and then we find our mismatches with the motion, the shifts, and the adjustments pre-snap. But, yeah, if the Dolphins can't run the ball, Tua doesn't lead the league in the categories he's leading in. So I would expect a big dose of running out of Achane, out of Jeff Wilson, and if Mostert back out of him on Saturday night.
It sounds like you kind of answered it a little bit there, but the Dolphins win this game if they do what? And they're going home and done for the season if what happens?
If they, first off, choke out Travis Kelce, because I got to know, we're allowed to talk about gambling now on radio.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I got the Travis Kelce over 55 yards receiving. Which I thought that was, I got a small mortgage on that. I think that was a ridiculous number. But he's the weapon. Like Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, who's a Gator. Kadarius Toney, I love watching at Florida. Kansas City has most drops in the NFL this year. So, like, we know Travis Kelce can play. Choke him out, which they did do a great job in the first game this year. They did do a great job of covering Travis. But as you see what the Ravens did, you see what Buffalo did. They don't attack the corners. Nobody wants to throw at Jalen Ramsey. That just doesn't make sense. They attack the linebackers with tight ends. They attack the slot receivers on the Cater Kohus and on the second, third, fourth best corner on the league, and now on the team. And now Xavier Howard's out too, so that third corner is now going to be the second corner. So they're going to attack the inside guys, and that's what Travis Kelce is. So I think Vic Fangio will do a good job of limiting Travis. Even though I got the over, I think he'll get 60 yards with no problem. But, yeah, they have to run the ball. They have to keep, if I would say 70, if Kansas City gets into that 65, 70 plays in this game, like they're on the field too much and they're going to make you pay for it, where run the ball, keep them off, don't give them 13 possessions, 14 possessions. Let's make it one of these slower, lazier games. Run the ball, keep it close, and then win it late. Because, like I said, this isn't going to be a blowout in either direction. I really don't feel that way.
Lastly, I want to get you out of here on this. You played for the Dolphins, obviously went up against the Patriots throughout your NFL career. Therefore, you went up against a Bill Belichick coach team. Obviously, the news today, he's parting ways with the organization. We all expect he'll be a head coach somewhere here very soon. What was your reaction to that? And do you believe he's still, basically, does he still have it?
I think he still has it, and I think he wants to catch. He'll probably never say it, but he wants to catch Shula. I think he's, less than 20 games back from Shula or something like that. So I think he wants to catch Shula. I played in the Patriot-run AFC East my entire career.
Ugh.
I played Tom Brady. I played the Patriots 12 times in 6 years. I think Tom Brady was out for 2 of those games when he tore his knee up. So I played all of them a number of times. He is an amazing coach, defensive guru, amazing-minded coach. It's him and Andy Reid were the 2 coaches, and Andy was in Philly when I was playing. Just like you knew there was going to be something different. Watch as much film as you want, do as much studying as you want. He's going to throw something different, a different wrinkle into every single game that he coaches in because he knows what you're looking at. They self-scout, and he does a great job. I was not surprised the Patriots moved on from him or mutually agreed, whatever.
Yeah.
They'll make it sound good. Hell, they fired him.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised they fired Belichick because of the success of what happened recently. And it's weird when guys take on the GM and the head coach because now you're responsible for talent and talent, maximization, I would say. So he wasn't drafting very well the last couple of years. We all saw it. There was nothing coming out of those first and second round draft picks they had, and that's where it went downhill. The Mac Jones, the Bailey Zappies, that they weren't bringing in a quarterback that could really play. And you're seeing it through their offense being one of the worst in the league. So he will be somewhere. I've heard Washington. They got rid of Riverboat Ron. I've heard Washington, Dallas. I think Dallas would be a great place for them if they don't go deep in the playoffs here, with McCarthy. I think that could be a good place, but I think it should be an established team. So Dallas is sexy to me. That's just me saying, me guessing or hoping for, I guess, Bill, because I do respect Bill and I, care about Bill. He ended up bringing me in when I was coming out in 2005. I went and took a visit to the Patriots. And after my, pre-draft workout and all, I sat in his office. This is when his son, who's now coaching, was a kid, and they were just hanging around the facility. So I ate lunch with Bill and his 2 sons, in the office with him, talk football, talk life, talk about family and stuff. So Bill is a good dude. He's probably the best coach, the GOAT of coaches in the NFL history. And him and his buddy Saban both might hang it up. So you're having two OGs of the game that might not coach anymore. And but Bill Belichick is a respected coach, and he was one of them coaches I knew I could watch all the film in the world, and he's going to throw some kind of wrinkle in. And if it gets you, it's going to get you because he's a genius football mind.
Channing Crowder, of course, hosts down in Miami for 560 WQAM. You can also check out the Pivot podcast. Appreciate your perspective. And I don't know, are you making the trip up from nice and warm Miami to bitter cold Kansas City this weekend?
Oh, it's no way I'm going to negative 20. It's funny. It's funny. Me and my wife were talking about watching the game Saturday. I was like, I'll barbecue, we'll have some people over. We're getting the pool, and we thought about it. We were like, oh, man, it's going to be 60. The pool's going to be chilly. We get scared at 60 degrees. There's no way I'm leaving there for negative 20.
I don't blame you at all. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me.
There you go. That's Channing Crowder. Obviously played, 6 years in the NFL for the Miami Dolphins as radio down in Miami now for our Odyssey sister station and has a really fun podcast, the Pivot podcast going on. And, 60 degrees.
So he's got a small mortgage on Travis Kelce's over.
Hey, we talked about last night on the
What's
betting.
a small mortgage for Channing Crowder? Is that like my mortgage? What's a small mortgage for him?
I mentioned he played in the league for 6 years.
I'm going to guess 4. I mean, it's not 5 figures we're talking about here, right? We're talking like a couple grand. I feel like he's got a couple of grand on Travis Kelce's.
Yeah, that's probably safe.
That feels like the number, 1,000 or 2.
The Titans, the Dolphins give up on average about 55 yards a game to tight ends. Kelce's over is anywhere from 55.5 up to 57.5. Fresh, healthy Kelce. That was one thing last night that I did give out as well. I agree with him. I actually like the over for Checo as well. We can talk about that stuff tomorrow. But if you're wondering, Channing Crowder, I hate doing this. We just had the guy on the show, so this is kind of... But it's public knowledge, whatever. Career earnings.
Are you talking about what the man made?
No, you're the one that
Look
brought
at
it.
his
Asked
own
how much.
checkbook.
You asked.
I just asked what he
You
bet,
asked what the bet was.
We don't unit size on this show. You know that.
12.2 mil.
Okay. He's probably doing okay. You think that pool's heated?
I don't think you need a heated pool in Miami.
Well, he just said it was going to be a little
You don't need a heated pool in Miami.
No, probably
you
not.
No need. Why would you have a heated pool in Miami? You don't need that.
What a difference. What a different environment. Think about all the Chiefs fans are going to go out to Arrowhead today in negative 20-degree wind chills, reportedly, and watch this game. And Channing Crowder's like, I thought I might have a few people over at the pool. Just kicking outside and watch the game. I'm like, I can't. I'll be honest, Channing. That sounds like a better way to watch the game on Saturday.
If I'm a Dolphin, this is like one of those where normally, support your team. If I'm a Dolphins fan, there is no reason for you to fly to Kansas City to watch this game. Really? One, I want it to be all Chiefs fans anyway, but there's no reason if you're a Dolphins fan to fly to Kansas City for this weekend.
Save it for a different season.
So he mentioned the Cowboys potentially going out. If you know, this is another one of those things, kind of like we talked about the other day. If you know you can get Bill Belichick, is Jerry Jones going to say, you know what? I don't care if we made it to the NFC title game with you, Mike McCarthy. I can get Bill Belichick.
No, in this scenario, if Mike McCarthy goes to the NFC title game, they're not firing Mike McCarthy.
I'm just saying, is Bill Belichick enough of a name to get him?
Mike McCarthy also would have a job the next day as well. The Chargers should hire McCarthy if the Cowboys actually fire. I just don't believe he's getting fired. It goes back to the same personnel question. We know Jerry Jones is not giving Belichick personnel control, so you know what I mean? Like the question we don't have the answer to yet is, does Bill Belichick want personnel control? But I just would be stunned if the Cowboys got rid of McCarthy. I also think they're going to roll past the Packers on Sunday.
We can semi-make this. We don't even have to. We can play this sound if you want. That kind of was my all-32, because going back to it, like when you look at this, McCarthy does deserve a little bit of credit. Look, I was like anyone else, Gold. I'll be honest. I was like anyone else. I took my shots at McCarthy. Ha, look at funny man. Can't win with old Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams there in Green Bay. They consistently came up short in the playoffs and all these things in between. The guy is a good enough coach that he can win with talent. He kept going to the postseason. He kept being a high seed for Green Bay. And now he's doing the exact same thing for Dallas. Three straight 12-win seasons. You know, he's where he needs to be. But his problem is still the same, which is what Drew had pointed out. He does not have the greatest postseason track record most of the time. But it's also just like ignoring that he won the Super Bowl. So I don't know. I'm so stuck with him.
He's done a great job with that offense this year.
I do too. I don't see any reason why you would move on from Mike McCarthy. And I'm kind of with you, Gold, that he would get a job instantaneously, teams would be all over Mike McCarthy for a third head coaching job. But for some reason, they decided to go Bill Belichick.
And it doesn't mean, like any coach, McCarthy makes plenty of mistakes. I mean, I go back to, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago? Plus, maybe more than that now. Time runs quick. But against the Dolphins, where for whatever reason they gave the fullback like 4 touches and then they fumbled it at the goal line. Like, that was all on McCarthy. So I don't mean he doesn't make mistakes. Every coach we can do this with, by the way. But I think he's actually done a hell of a job this year for Dak Prescott. They get rid of Kellen Moore, and then Mike McCarthy takes over the entire offense. And Dak Prescott, for 1 week at least, was the MVP favorite. Late in the season, too. I mean, that says something about what you're doing.
I do think a first-round loss could always change the math on it because they've just accomplished nothing at the postseason. But Dallas has historically, we don't give them enough credit for this. Jerry Jones, because he seems like kooky old wild man, like screaming at clouds, he is an incredibly patient owner. He gives his coaches time. He gives them more than enough time to be good.
I'm going to steal something from Fesco, or I'll give credit to Fesco for this because he said it this morning. The Chargers, I'll use the Chargers as the main example, or I can switch to Atlanta, but the Chargers should have called Pete Carroll yesterday and given him the offer.
Probably. Hey, Geno Smith could.
And the reason I say that, I think, is because when he was doing his presser, if you will, I guess, or his statement, if you want to call it that, he was like, I'm so jacked up. You know, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to continue doing things. He didn't sound like a guy that was done coaching yet. And I think if you're the Chargers or if you're Atlanta, this is the next best option, I think, besides Bill Belichick in terms of experience in the NFL, having won a Super Bowl and all of that stuff. He's a name that you should be calling at least to try and gauge his interest on whether or not he wants to coach. I think Atlanta might be appealing to him, just given the situation, the division as well. I don't know how appealing the Chargers job would be, just given Mahomes and Andy Reid have been running that thing, and you got Sean Payton in there as well, or what. But I feel like they should give him a call at least. They have to.
They should get an established coach. They went young. They went young gun last time, even though he's a defensive-minded guy. Like, Justin Herbert that man needs some stability. We always talk about this like Alex Smith and others. Herbert's had no stability. They've changed offensive coordinators more than once under Staley. He's been the head coach now, so I guess he's had the same head coach, but he's not a very good one. They got to and now he's got a new GM. Find him a coach who's going to be there for a few years and knows what the hell he's doing, so he doesn't walk in there while some guy figures out how to both be a head coach and take over this team. Find a guy who can just handle it. Handle it right away. They seem like the most logical. Bill Belichick or Pete Carroll or if McCarthy, what we just talked about.
Yeah. We'll stick with the coaching theme. You know, we I think a year ago, around this time, we had mentioned, or actually, it's probably 2 years ago, because last year was the first year that Mike Kafka was the OC in New York. And when he left Kansas City and got hired to be the OC in New York, I think we said, hey, if he turns Daniel Jones into something, that guy might be a head coach. Well, he did last year. Got a lot of praise for it. This year, Daniel Jones gets hurt. That whole team was a mess. Yeah. Wink Martindale is out, the defensive coordinator. Mike Kafka's still there as the OC. And
he's having to make it work with Tommy DeVito for a while.
He's reportedly getting an interview with the Tennessee Titans and is a candidate for that job. Do you think Mike Kafka, is a name we haven't talked about on this show in a very long time, do you think Mike Kafka, because of what he did 2 years ago, has done enough to get a head coaching gig already?
Well, he's getting interviews. I think he's got a better chance to get a job than but he's got a better shot than getting a job than Eric Bieniemy.
Well, at this point, does I'm with you at this point? Yeah.
No, I don't think so. It's hard. It just depends on probably what you think of him behind a closed door, because he did do a nice job with Daniel Jones. And honest to God, he was given even less in scraps this year.
Yes.
And at least for a short period of time, they were semi-functional offensively. It is really hard to be like, do a better job, Mike Kafka. With what? With what wide receivers? With what quarterback? If you think he's smart, if you thought he was smart 2 years ago, you're probably just going to ignore everything that happened on offense for the Giants.
Well, and both New York coaches, talking about the head coach Brian Daboll and then Robert Saleh, next year we all know they're both on the hot seat. If both miss the playoffs again next year, they're both canned. And they'll be looking for two coaches in New York, New Jersey.
In which Kafka will have to go find a new OC job to try to get the head coaching gig this way.
Go ahead.
That's the same thing. Kellen Moore. He's like Kellen Moore to me. I don't know if he's ever getting a job.
With your Bieniemy point, like I'm with you. I don't think he'll be a head coach this year. I still think, whether it's Belichick or whoever, if Bill Belichick, let's say, gets the Falcons job, I still think if he's willing to do it, and I'm not saying Belichick and EB have I don't know if they have a good relationship, any relationship at all. Probably not. I think that's like, if you're talking about like a symbol of very good coaching staff, if I'm Atlanta, you hire Bill Belichick.
EB is the OC.
EB is the OC. Or if I'm the Commanders and I say I'm hiring Belichick, You keep EB, let him be the OC for. I think that's a hell of a pairing.
Yeah.
Now, does Eric Bieniemy want to be? I don't think head coach is happening.
I don't know why not.
So.
Lots of guys have become head coaches under
under
Bill Belichick.
Think about that. EB could be the OC for Andy and then eventually be an OC for Bill Belichick. That'd be wild.
It seems like the Titans are just interviewing.
Ron Rivera is probably going to be in the Hall of Fame too.
And,
did he win he didn't win a Super Bowl. Just lost the one with that. So probably not.
Ron Rivera, I will say. Look,
he's been a long time. He's not going to be Hall of Fame. You're right. But he was
Ron Rivera's
for 15 years probably.
Ron Rivera has been well liked, and there's a wide variety of reasons for that. I think people respect him.
Yeah.
But nobody, 2 hours ago I was saying, man, coaches should get more of a leash and figure things out. They gave way too long a time for Ron Rivera. And if you look at Ron Rivera's track, he's not Jeff Fisher, okay? But when you look at the track record, how long they gave him, if he wasn't just well-respected and played the media game the way he did and had a bunch of friends, most coaches would have been gone a long time ago. Ron Rivera got plenty of time.
It seems like the Titans are interviewing everybody, too. I know that the Bengals OC, Brian Callahan, is interviewing with the Chargers, the Panthers, the Falcons, the Titans. I mean, it seems like the Titans have gone after, whether it be Callahan or
I think they're going with
Ben Johnson.
A young, inexperienced coach.
By the way, he is Jeff Fisher. 102, 103, and 2.
There you go.
He's exactly one win away from a perfectly 500 record.
And yet
Thanos holding the blade symbol of balance.
He got way more time because people liked him and respected him.
He also won in his third year in Carolina and then got to a Super Bowl by year 5. So people,
But he got 4 or 5 years in DC.
They gave him. He got 4. They gave him. They gave him a lot of leash after that one title game appearance, the one Super Bowl appearance.
Since that one, he hasn't gone back.
But that was a different organization. At some point, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Since then, he's been actually not good. A lot of that 500 records, he's kind of freight in the first 5
He'll
seasons.
be on somebody's staff next year, but I think I don't think Ron Rivera will ever be a head coach again, though.
13-year head coach, though.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's a lot.
That's all 32.
OC for a 13-year coach. Reed and Belichick would be pretty big.
Up next, we'll get to random question of the day and back into the biggest news around sports still, which is Bill Belichick parting ways today and Nick Saban retiring.
Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
Hey, it's Josh Klingler with Hy-Vee today at the Shawnee Hy-Vee on 63rd Street until 1 o'clock today. The Hy-Vee Supercard is here as well. Scan the QR code alongside, and you can go to the playoff game this weekend. That's right. Hy-Vee will send one lucky fan to the home playoff game. Winner will receive 4 Chiefs playoff tickets, 1 parking pass, and 1 $100 Visa gift card. So be looking for the Hy-Vee Supercard. It's got a QR code on the side. Just scan it for your chance to win. If you can't get here this afternoon, the Supercard will make other stops today and tomorrow, including Lee Summit East, Shawnee, and Overland Park. I also have a couple of autographed footballs to give away and other Chiefs swag. So stop on by the Hy-Vee in Shawnee on 63rd Street until 1 o'clock. Don't forget, Hy-Vee's your one-stop shop for everything you need to cheer on the Chiefs to a huge win this weekend. Homemade dips, chips, party trays, official Chiefs apparel, and Chiefs-themed party decor. Planning that tailgate? Don't miss Hy-Vee's amazing meat bundle. 4 burgers, 4 pork chops, 4 brats, and 4 chicken breasts, all for $30. Only at Hy-Vee. I'll be at the Shawnee location until 1 on 610 Sports Radio.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC.
Last year, other dealers were charging up to $10,000 over MSRP, but those cars haven't held their value. I'm Jeff Davis, owner of Volkswagen Lee Summit. If your car is worth a lot less money than you bought it for, exchange it.
Is your car payment too much? Exchange it. Is your interest rate too high? Exchange it. Want a lower price? You guessed it. Exchange your vehicle at Volkswagen Lee Summit today. We're offering rates as low as 2.99% APR, low leases, and thousands off MSRP. Come and see us or visit VWLeeSummit.com. Financing through VCI on approved credit.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
The biggest winner in the big game could be you. Thanks to BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks is offering new customers a chance to score $158 in bonus bets instantly. That's right, instantly. Just download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code BETKC. Then place a $5 moneyline wager on the big game. You'll receive $158 in bonus bets instantly, regardless of your wager's outcome.
Don't miss your opportunity to cross the goal line on the money line as pro football's top teams clash for the championship. Can't be in Vegas for the big game? Then bring the big game excitement to you with the King of Sportsbooks. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. New customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold, each day from noon until 1 on 610 Sports Radio. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. 610 Sports Radio.
Wholesale batteries for all your battery needs. Motorcycle, ATVs, lawn and garden tractors, power sport, boats, jet skis, and RVs. Kansas City, visit Wholesale Batteries now for all your battery needs. Wholesale Batteries, the right battery the first time.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
I lock up my Old Spice Fiji aluminum-free dry spray to keep that 24/7 lasting freshness safe for myself. Fresh coconuts, palm trees in the wind. It's like catching waves in Fiji. Actually, I just talked myself into a refreshing spritz of Fiji. My Old Spice is missing! No!
Progressive presents Precious Moments.
Yeah, I caught my first fish, Dad!
Great job, buddy. He's a beauty.
Thanks for taking me fishing. Love you, Dad.
I love you too, son.
The exchange you just heard didn't actually happen, but it could. Bundle your home and other vehicles with Progressive, and you could use the savings to make sure the boat's always ready for those magical father-son moments. Who knows, maybe someday he'll actually like fishing. So keep the dream alive and the savings coming with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
I lock up my Old Spice Fiji aluminum-free dry spray to keep that 24/7 lasting freshness safe for myself. Fresh coconuts, palm trees in the wind. It's like catching waves in Fiji. Actually, I just talked myself into a refreshing spritz of Fiji. My Old Spice is missing! No!
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Brought to you by Gomer's. 5 locations in the KC Metro or shop online at gomers.com.
Gomer's has all you need to celebrate the football game this Sunday. Voted KC's #1 liquor store, our mission is to offer excellent prices, selection, and service. 5 locations in the KC Metro or shop online at gomers.com.
About 10 minutes away from the random question of the day. A little bit of news during the break. I don't think any of us are surprised by this, but Marvin Harrison Jr. officially declaring for the draft. He is, of course, a projected top 5 pick. I mean, we all saw that coming. But wide receiver at Ohio State, the dream wide receiver, truly dream wide receiver in Kansas City. It's just not.
Trade up to number 3 to get him.
It's just not feasible. They'd have to go Ricky Williams trade.
Literally,
which, by the way,
nobody else in the entire draft except for Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know. I'd be kind of excited.
They would have to go Ricky Williams trade. And by the way, I just want to point out that was a terrible trade that McDicka made.
Not great.
Yeah.
His teammate, who's been mocked to the Chiefs, is not going into the draft.
He's staying.
He is staying
for Will Howard.
Yeah.
He wants to catch pass for Will Howard next year.
Why not? Was asking on Twitch. Hey, does Caleb Williams announce yet? No, Caleb Williams. Why not on just Twitch? I was just giving his handle.
I thought until the 15th, technically.
I have their handle versus from the 913.
Oh, I was like, why not? I'm like, I got
they're
you.
asking if Caleb Williams has committed. No, he is not, but he's going to. They have until January 15th, technically, is the hard deadline to announce that they're going to go to the NFL draft. And your guy, Devin Neal, over at Kansas, has also officially, I think the rumor was already out there, officially announced both Kansas and Missouri.
Announced that he's coming back, let me be clear.
Coming back. Both Kansas, I was going to say, both Kansas and Missouri are returning a lot of talent. There have been plenty of guys who have lost a lot of people in the transfer portal and have lost a lot of people to the draft. Both those schools didn't lose a lot of people to the transfer portal and didn't lose a lot of those players to the draft. They're both getting a pretty good chunk of their roster back, considering the kind of ebb and flow of college sports.
Missouri defensively will be the big question. They lost their DC, and then they lost some pieces there. But you know my thoughts on Missouri's chances next year. I think they got a great chance. And then, KU, with all the returners, I think we'll get official word here soon. They've been posting photos and videos of the demolition of David Booth Memorial Stadium, obviously the renovation and everything that's going on. If you look at the site, which now is nothing on one side of the west side of the stadium, there's no chance they can play any football games there. Like, I know they planned on, we can do this. No chance. Maybe in the 2025 season, which is when it's ready, obviously is a whole different story. You're going to play there, and you'll have the other half that's old. That's fine. There's no way. They're going to have to play at Arrowhead next year.
Which was already kind of rumored anyway. They're going to play some games. They're going to have to play all of them.
I think so.
Since we're just briefly on this, I know we didn't have this topic planned, and we're going to talk more about all the coaching stuff that took place. After I watched Kansas go down last night to UCF in their first ever Big 12 game, good for them. That's their biggest win in program history. All of a sudden, beating a top 3 ranked team in the country, show up in the conference and get the win.
The Big 12, man, is just absurd.
So number 1 and number 2 also went down because number 2 is also in it's just a massive conference, and the Big 12 is crazy. Last night I was thinking after that loss, NIL, we complain about NIL, or we talk about the coaches who complain about NIL and all this. It has been so great for college basketball. College basketball is super competitive again, and I am convinced NIL is a huge reason why. More people, because there's less spots in the NBA, more players are staying longer. Some of them are staying at their big programs way longer, and some of these mid-tier programs are getting some of those small school kids that might have stayed at Davidson, jumped up a level, and everyone is loaded. NIL has been great for college basketball. This has been the most watchable this product has been in 15 years. I mean, I'm much more enjoying it than I had in a while. That's all.
No, I think there's definitely, that came up during the NCAA tournament a little bit last year. You know, I still disagree. I think it was Carrington. He knows I disagree with him on this, where he said, we don't really have upsets anymore in the tournament. I still strongly disagree with that notion. But there is truth to the fact that if you are these mid-major schools or just mid-tier Power 5 schools even, you're able to have more experienced teams, right? So is the quality of college basketball, does it have a chance to improve? I mean, a guy, what was the Kentucky player last year, guys? Oscar Tshiebwe, he stayed because of NIL money, and it turned out, based off of what his NBA prospects were going to be. There's, Hunter Dickinson, right? He's going to earn it, a ton of money playing at KU, but NBA-wise, not.
Zach Edey at Purdue.
Yeah, I mean, so that is the benefit of that. And obviously it's above board now, so it's a whole different scenario. And last night UCF just more proved the Big 12 is just a gauntlet for everybody. And 1 went down, 2 went down, 3 went down. I also saw, I think, number 8 or 9 went down last night too, something like that.
Marquette lost to Butler.
Tennessee lost last night. They were 6 or something. I mean,
5. Yeah,
5-6 losses might get it done in the Big 12 to take
your
down
Badgers. Your Badgers did win last night.
They hung on.
They did. Your Badgers did win. But no, you're right. Obviously, conference tournament play is going to be fun to watch for all 3 local schools. But the story's still around college and a little bit certainly in the NFL today. We'll find out when Belichick ultimately lands somewhere else. But Nick Saban retiring. I mean, he is unquestionably the best college football coach we've ever seen. And I do think, you said NIL, Cody, I think that's part of the equation here with why Nick Saban stepped away, because it's not just that he's 72 years old, and okay, that's a tough job at that age. That's a lot of work, 24/7. You got to recruit, and then you got to re-recruit, and then you got to deal with the NIL situation. And yet he still found himself in the national semifinal this year, despite everybody counting him out in October, when it looked like after the loss to Texas, like, oh no, not going to happen. And Bama still got in and gave Michigan, at least for a little bit, a run for their money.
Oh yeah, it was a fight.
I think when you have gone through change probably 12 different times across your career, if you're Saban, at some point you're like, do I want to go through this whole conference realignment again now that Texas and OU are here? Do I want to deal with the re-recruitment of NIL and transfer portal? Do I want to do all that? He already lost like 16 players in the transfer portal this year before he even announced his retirement. So I think that there's a lot of factors, but I think that's part of it and why Nick Saban's no longer going to be a head coach of college football.
There is a new story out on ESPN that details things a little bit more with Coach Saban. So he said... he told ESPN in his first public comments, I want to be there for the players, for the coaches, anything I can do to support them during this transition. There's a lot of things to clean up to help as we move forward. I'm still going to have a presence here at the university in some form and trying to figure out all that and how it works. This is a place that will never be too far away from Miss Terry and my hearts. So it sounds like he's shifting into not necessarily an advisor role, but he's going to be around. He might even, who knows, be involved in helping hire his successor. Who knows?
Good.
But
he might be making
that's
a
what
phone call if they get a recruit 2 years from now and they're like, you'll love it there.
That's
He's
big
probably,
for them.
look, I know at Nebraska, Tom Osborne a little bit different because he coached and then he was the athletic director. I'm not saying Nick Saban's going to be the AD. But what I mean by is Tom Osborne's just always around that program and will be the rest of his life. I feel like that's what it's going to be for Saban. He's not going to be the athletic director.
He's the figurehead of Alabama football even after the fact. I mean, he's been the highest paid employee in the state for 15 years.
As weird as it sounds, even you'll use, if you're whoever the next head coach is, which we know Dan Lanning at Oregon came out today and said he's not going to take the job. Whoever that is, you'll still, I guarantee you, Nick Saban will still be somehow involved in recruiting efforts.
You know, it's
because it's Nick
he'll
freaking
be
Saban.
in your corner. Absolutely, it's a good thing to have.
It's crazy to me that Bill Belichick coached in New England for 24 years, and I feel like it's going to be harder to follow Saban.
Of course,
they both won 6 titles for their respected, university and pro sports team. The problem with Saban is that, as we know in college football, you can, there's a certain amount of blue bloodiness, like we talk about basketball, where you're not going to be bad at football. But we saw the few years in between when they got the hire wrong at Alabama, and you can certainly be a whole lot worse. We've seen it at Texas. We've seen it at Alabama.
Nebraska, the Frank Solich and Tom Osborne thing.
You can screw this up, and Alabama cannot be the name that you are used to Alabama being quickly without Nick Saban.
Well, and I think also, so there's furthermore, he talked about health also being a factor. So he said, quote, last season was difficult for me just from a health standpoint, not necessarily having anything major wrong, but just being able to sustain and do things the way I want to do them. It's gotten a bit harder, so you have to decide, okay, this sort of inevitable thing when you get to my age. He was asked about, Saban added it would have been unfair to everybody for him to stay there for 4 or 5 more years, saying, quote, which I would have been happy to try to do, but I just didn't feel like I could do that and didn't want to get into a year-to-year deal that doesn't help anybody and doesn't help you continue to build and be the standard that I want to be at this program that, I'd love to be at. So I think he was never going to coach until he was like Joe Paterno or Bobby Bowden, where they're nearly on their deathbed and they're done. He wanted to make sure he went out on the right note, I think.
Yeah, no, I think also going back to just the schedule and the grind, that's for someone in their 70s, the amount of hours Nick Saban worked, that is a lot. And it's actually the fact that he was able to recognize that is refreshing, I guess. I also just think you mentioned he's not, you didn't want to be, Bobby Bowden or whatever, and certainly didn't want to be Joe Paterno. When it comes to that aspect in coaching and being a lifer, I think we're about done with that anyway. Roy Williams hung it up, Coach K, Jim Boeheim, Izzo and Self are probably the last 2 in college basketball.
Yeah.
Maybe Mark Few at Gonzaga. And that's probably about it as far as guys that are just one place, 30 years, whatever.
Kirk Ferentz.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's
he's got to be almost 70. He's been in Iowa for a gajillion years.
That's true.
But there's probably not going to be a whole lot of that in sports for a variety of reasons. Kirk Ferentz, 68 years old. That's probably going to be something we look back on 20 years from Yeah, no. Now, guys, like, it just doesn't happen anymore.
Our childhood is like basically disappeared from that college basketball perspective, and then you think, Urban Meyer, all the stuff that he's done, Coach Saban. You look at Les Miles, a legend in college football, had been around for so long, and you can just go down the line with so many other coaches throughout college sports in general. Bobby Bowden being one of them as well. That the people that we watched growing up are basically all gone, and I don't think I was.
So are you saying we're getting old too?
No.
What you're saying?
I'm getting older too.
We're
all getting older.
I am getting old.
But I think I was talking to you about this, Cody, in the bullpen. To your point, I'm not throwing shade. All right.
Getting older tomorrow.
We
Officially.
I'm getting older in 1 minute, technically. Anyways, I don't think we see another coach have this sort of tenure, to your guys' point, just because of all the ever-changing things going on, but also the amount of time that they're there, and you have to be good for that whole time.
I just think that I don't think it's as impossible as you guys say, because I think it's just becoming bigger business. And if you wait a few more years, what you might find out is that, it was a lot of Nick Saban to run all these things because of NIL. They'll have like 20-person NIL department.
So you think we'll see coaches staying at places for 30 years?
I don't think it's out of the question, especially places like Alabama, where I'd never. Kirby Smart, Georgia, I think some of it's that job.
I think some of it's the workload, but also money. Like, remember, some of these guys, when Coach K started out, he's making, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but like making pennies, okay? When he started, like, the money in the sport for the coaches is also just like, you coach for 10 years at a big time university, and you're making 20+ million over the 30-40 million in some of these cases easily. And I'm probably being conservative with those estimates at a place like Alabama, obviously, or whatever, where Nick Saban's been the highest paid college football coach for seems like 10 years.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew, over in the text line, 913-586-7610. Of course, over on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, where we live stream the show on video every single day. You can interact with us over there as well. All right, so in, 2 weeks is my grandpa's birthday. Yours is tomorrow, but let's talk about my grandpa's for a minute. 90, he'll be 94 years old.
Wow.
Great run for old Bancroft Tap.
Hell yeah, good for him.
Great man. That's my birthday. One of the things he has...
It's not your birthday,
So we're going to get together for his birthday, obviously, right? And it was like, we're going to do chili, and we found out what his favorite kind of cake is, so we can get that.
Yeah.
And then it was like, and he probably wouldn't say no to some whiskey, in which we all volunteered to buy him whiskey. And so a couple of weeks ago, when we were discussing, or about a week ago when we were discussing this, it was made clear that he got a bottle of whiskey as a gift that he liked so much that he was trying to decide whether or not budgetary-wise he could make the full-time shift. For the most part, the man drinks Jim Beam. He'll drink a pretty good amount of it, right? But he was like, man, can I switch to this bourbon because of how much I like it, right? And I was like, okay, so the question I have for you today is, it's 10 cup, by the way, it's whiskey. I had to look it up. How many bottles of whiskey to get him is too many at 94 years old? Because I am tempted. We have, like, both between the people I know and the listeners of this show, what if we just got this guy like 30 bottles or something? Is it too many? Am I doing 30? A disservice if I ask the listeners of this station to help us figure out how we can get 30 bottles of this whiskey to deliver to his house for his 94th birthday? What's too many?
I wouldn't be asking the listeners
10?
I wouldn't be asking the listeners to buy my grandfather whiskey anyway. But
why? They'd like it.
I think
so it says 94 bottles of whiskey.
Yeah.
94 years old.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 bottles, I would say, is probably a good amount.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You think that's it?
Yeah.
You got to cap it at 2 or 3 bottles?
Yes.
Man.
You said 30.
I don't think that's out of the question. He's got plenty of living.
30 at 94?
30.
He's got plenty of living left he wants to do. Why can't,
30 bottles?
Well, I mean, that might be a year's supply or something. We don't know. Get him covered for a while. He doesn't have to worry about it.
30.
Just stack him up on the counter or whatever at his place.
Oh, man.
God, you guys are so dark about some of this.
Damn.
Too much? All right, fine. Not
Someone
30.
says one bottle. Someone says a bottle a day. Okay. Someone says, yeah, Cody. It's like, what are you trying to do here, man? What are you trying to do?
I'm just trying to let him enjoy his life. Okay? Someone says 1 bottle a day for 30 days.
Yes.
It's just 1 month.
Look, when you get to, you said he's going to be 94 or he is 94?
He will be 94.
So he'll be 94. I mean, once you hit 90, you can do whatever the hell you want. I would argue even like at 85, but like you at 90, do whatever the hell you want.
Or do you just do like one crazy bottle? Do all my siblings, because I've got a million siblings and all this, do we all just chip in and we spend like a G on like a bottle of Pappy?
That would also
we
that would
just
be cool.
like, and we just say screw it. We all spend $100. We all chip in. The tech over on Twitch was suggesting that, and we just all chip in and get them like one bottle of Pappy for like $1,000, $1,500, rather than I'm trying to buy them 30 bottles.
Yeah, that's
of
true.
whiskey.
You have plenty of siblings where you guys definitely could pool your money together and get a very nice gift, whether it's a bottle of whiskey or something else.
Someone says I work for the company in town that reps Jim Beam and Tin Cup, can get you a case at either cost. See, now we're talking. Now we're getting somewhere.
Someone says Cody thinks everybody drinks as much as he does.
That's not what I said. But my grandpa has his evening whiskey. I don't think he goes an evening without his evening whiskey.
No, they're saying not everybody drinks as much as you do. That's what the text is saying.
I lived with my grandpa for a month when my house wasn't ready. The whole family lived with him for a month.
How much did
when
he
we
drink?
were waiting? You know what? I'm gonna say 2, maybe 3. It depends on the night. Sometimes 0. But I would say that glass got refilled more often than not. It wasn't normally 1. A couple.
Okay.
Again, I don't. Drink it. Drink whatever you want. I don't care. I just didn't know. I didn't know if we should have what we should go
Someone says
for.
Tin Cup's not expensive. Just get a case.
How much is it? What's it run? I guess I hadn't looked at the price.
They didn't say the price. The text line just said.
Well, this guy says we can get a case at cost. Maybe we should do it. Someone says Pappy's excessively expensive for the average whiskey. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
That's kind of the point.
The aura around that or whatever. Yeah,
that's like $40. So it's not like outrageously priced.
A lot of people are just saying get a case and just be good.
Okay, so that's the number. We think case.
That's what the text line's saying.
Yeah. So 30 too much. 3 not enough. Let's go with a case. I'm telling you right now, he was trying to figure out budget-wise if he could just like make the switch. Because that's more expensive than his current drinking whiskey by $10, $15. So we had to make a decision whether or not, I like this one enough. Do I make the transition? And, 94. I feel like we should get him something nice.
You should. Your siblings should all pool together. Get him something very nice. 94, man. Goodness. That's a hell of a lot. Think about everything he's witnessed.
He was born in 1930. So,
yeah, man.
You can figure out whichever life events occur during that. I guess he's, seen a world war, seen several wars.
Yeah.
Been through a few of those. A lot of different presidents. You can go through the normal run of things. I guess he would have been a child during like the Depression era stuff.
Yeah, that's why when you step back and think about that kind of stuff.
He's still got black and white television.
He's still got
or just TV.
Yeah, right.
Seriously.
He still has the newspaper clipping up of when he won a high school state championship.
Oh, nice.
Ran their winning touchdown.
Hey.
Classic 1940 stuff. He was a better athlete than me. Just start there.
Someone's telling me to keep an eye on the show funds. There you go. That's the random question of the day. Happy early birthday to your grandfather. All right, up next, we're going to head out to Arrowhead. We're going to hear from Andy Reid, and the one player that actually is a little more worrisome for Cody than old Tyreek Hill.
Cody and Gold. Watch the show on YouTube by subscribing to the @610 Sports KC channel. 610 Sports Radio.
Hey, it's Josh Klingler with Hy-Vee at the 63rd Street location in Shawnee with the Hy-Vee Supercard. Come look for the Supercard. It's got a QR code on the side to get registered to win 4 tickets for this weekend's playoff matchup for the Chiefs. Hy-Vee will send 1 lucky fan to the game. Winner will receive 4 playoff tickets, 1 parking pass, and 1 $100 Visa gift card. It's very, very simple. Find the Hy-Vee Supercard, scan the QR code, and give yourself a chance to win. If you haven't done it yet, be sure to sign up for the all-new Perks card or transfer your old Fuel Saver card to get exclusive members-only pricing and Fuel Saver deals on hundreds of items every day only at Hy-Vee. If you can't make it here this afternoon, the Hy-Vee Supercart will be on location today and tomorrow, including Lee Summit East, Shawnee, and Overland Park. In addition to the grand prize, I have a couple of autographed footballs and some Chiefs swag to give away today as well. So come see me to register to win at the Hy-Vee in Shawnee on 63rd Street until 1 on 610 Sports Radio.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, Brent, love the color. If you had to choose, would you watch paint dry or compare benefits plans?
Compare benefits plans, obviously.
But you know how complicated benefits are, right?
Well, I run payroll with Gusto. Gusto makes it easy to find benefits like medical, dental, and vision for my whole team.
Whoa. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna need new glasses.
Don't worry, you're covered.
Choose benefits without the mess. Visit gusto.com/radio to sign up for free.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
If you keep one resolution this year, it's to let Smokehouse Barbecue cater all of your events. With the football postseason upon us, invite Smokehouse to your tailgate. At the stadium or at home, Smokehouse is the perfect choice for game day. And if you don't feel like getting out in the cold this winter, have Smokehouse delivered to your house. And make sure you try their new Smokehouse Bowl, a delicious combination of their world-famous beans, mac and cheese, chopped burnt ends, and smoked sausage. Visit them in Independence, Zona Rosa, or Gladstone, or at SmokehouseBBQ.com. It's Smokehouse Barbecue.
This week, raise a glass to your home team's Tully touchdown with Tullamore Dew, the original triple blended, triple distilled, smooth sipping Irish whiskey. When it's game time, it's Tully time. Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, imported by William Grant & Sons Incorporated, New York, New York.
Hi, it's Trey Smith, and in order for our team to get a victory, we need honesty, teamwork, work ethic, humility, and the golden rule. That's why my truck is from the dealer that embodies all those values, Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram also supports Giving Hope, whose sole purpose is to feed and clothe the needy in Wyandotte County and beyond. Giving back in the highest integrity, that's how Jeff and his team do business. For your next vehicle, visit or go to VictoryChryslerDodgeJeepRam.com.
Where can you find an extensive line of Blue Demon welding supplies, filler, rods, and wire? Metal by the Foot, located in Casey and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold, each day from noon until 1 on 610 Sports Radio. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. 610 Sports Radio.
When you want to feel your best, go where I go. Supplement Superstores. 8 locations around the Kansas City area. Supplement Superstores has the best selection of products and the most knowledgeable staff around. Plus, they have wholesale pricing every day. Supplement Superstores when you're ready to feel your best.
So you're in the middle of a kitchen update, and you can't tell if that's a faucet stem or a flange. With the Home Depot app, doing doesn't miss a beat. It'll find what you need in a snap, and it'll show you how to find it in store with a tap. Or get it delivered free. For doing that doesn't stop, download the Home Depot app. It's made for doing.
If you're looking for the most epic place on Earth, let's start at the base of a massive waterfall. Then trek through the thick jungle. Then climb to the peak of a snowy mountaintop. Then once you get there, keep going. Because with intelligent 4x4 and 7 drive modes and a Nissan Pathfinder, the search is the real adventure.
Available feature. Intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC.
NFL playoff coverage on 610 Sports Radio is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Hey, it's Willie Gay Jr. You're listening to the official broadcast partner of the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
We're expecting to hear from Andy Reid in just a couple of minutes. Remember, because of the Saturday game, today's like a Friday in their world. So a quick little Friday-ish type of press conference from Andy.
Maybe a little longer because it's the postseason. We'll see.
Who knows? Yeah, and maybe it's longer today because he gets asked about Bill Belichick and Nick Saban. It wouldn't surprise me. I saw this stat during the break, though. This just puts the greatness of both of them, really. And add Pete Carroll to this mix on a lesser scale. This came from Bet Labs. Since 2000, there have been 24 Super Bowls, 24 college football title games. Saban, Carroll, Belichick have coached in 22 of them. That's 46%, and won 15 of them, which is 31%.
So they've won 31% of all titles?
Yeah, let's go out to Arrowhead and hear from Andy Reid.
Wanye Morris will be listed as out. Everybody else has a chance. Taking the two receivers day-to-day that we talked about. So we'll see how they go. Look forward to the challenge of playing the Dolphins again. Should be a great environment up at the stadium here. And I know our fans will be fired up and ready to go. So with that, time's yours.
And do you think Donovan Smith will be ready to go?
Yeah.
Will he start for you?
Probably.
You say the two receivers, Rashid and Tony, right?
No, Justin Ross and Tony, yeah.
If Tony does play, what do you expect from him?
It'd be limited role, yeah.
Coach, Travis takes a beating all the time because he's getting all kinds of attention. To have that week off, are you expecting a fresh and restore? I mean, have you seen him practice a little more pep in his step?
Yeah, well, I think the time off, helped the guys that had the time off, him being one of them. He's had a lot of snaps, in his time. So any time off like that definitely helps.
Coach, a couple things have happened around the league in the last couple of days. Bill Belichick today is stepping away from New England. I wonder if you just thoughts on competing with him all these years, and Pete Carroll yesterday, you competed with him a lot.
Yeah, no, those are two great coaches. I mentioned after our game that Bill's the best I've gone against. So I don't know if they're done coaching or not, but I know they're done at that particular at their spots. So, but great coaches, phenomenal coaches. Yeah.
And one of the things that Bill did for all those years was he was deeply involved in the personnel, and I know you did that for a while.
Yeah.
Do you believe he did that for all those years?
Yeah, that's a tough thing to do for that long. He did it well, though, so, yeah, great.
With Belichick and then Nick Saban, they both kind of revolutionized the defense in college and in the pros, and with you kind of revolutionizing offense in the pros, is it something you look at on their side of defense was like the thing that they've made kind of move over the years?
Yeah, well, I'd put Pete in that with that whole Seattle 3 deal that they had going. That's those guys are tough. They were tough to compete against because of that. They great adjusters for you. What you're throwing at them on one side, they're throwing some stuff back at you, and they did a nice job adjusting. So,
Coach, I know you've been outside and you guys have been working out there, and you're dressed up a little warm, but the sub-zero-ness, it's probably the coldest that is ever going to be here for a playoff game to this point. Was there anything you could do to prepare people for that?
No, listen. No, it's cold's cold for you, me. It's cold. Cold is cold, but you go do your thing. That's how you go play.
Do you tell them to go play and then go stand by the warmer and then put their? Are there certain things that
There's one thing you don't have to do, and that's tell them to stand by the warmer.
Andy, I know this question gets asked just about this time every year, but considering with Pete and with Bill, do you intend to be the coach next season?
I haven't even thought about that, Nate. I'm thinking about one thing. I've figured that would come up when you guys were asking these questions, because I'm old. So, but Not that old.
Coach, yesterday I interviewed a guy who took a class from you at the University of Missouri, Introduction to Football. You and the assistant coaches taught it. And he changed his major to education. And for the last 31 years, he's been a football coach and a teacher in high school. And he said that you kindled something in the offensive coordinator, Dirk Hunter. Do you remember that class? And do you remember?
I do. A lot of fun. That was a fun class to be a part of. Yeah. So, yeah, I do remember it.
He said that you had an interesting way to coach offensive line, marry the hips.
Yeah, do you want me to explain? We'll pass on that one. Yeah.
You good? All right, great.
All right,
Thank you.
good.
All right, that's Andy Reid. Real quick, injury front, Wanya Morris, as expected, not going to play on Saturday, and they really don't have any choice. Donovan Smith, who's been practicing all week, is going to probably play left tackle for the Chiefs. Kadarius Toney, he says if Toney plays, he's going to be limited in some fashion. Towards the end, though, we knew the question was going to be asked about Andy Reid and his future after Pete Carroll is no longer the head coach in Seattle, after Bill Belichick is going to leave New England, after Nick Saban retired, and naturally Andy Reid's going to be asked about it. At first, he said he hadn't thought about retiring or not being the Chiefs coach next year. But then in the same answer, he said, "You're asking because I'm old." He's like, "I'm not that old. Here, we can play it again."
I haven't even thought about that, Nate. I mean, I'm thinking about one thing. I've figured that would come up when you guys were asking these questions because I'm old. So, but not that old.
I mean, I took
that is the most I'm not going anywhere answer ever.
Yeah, from saying initially like, "Oh, I haven't thought about it," but then basically being like, "Yeah, it's because I'm old, but I'm not that old." That tells me like, yeah, I'm not ready to. I'm not ready. I'm not old enough to hang this thing up yet.
Look, I understand that things can change.
Did you
Win
take
the
it that
Super
way?
Bowl, and I did not take this as like people would be like, it's deflecting. He doesn't want to answer. Like, no. That I've listened to Andy Reid press conferences a lot in my life. I'm telling you right now, that's Andy Reid's way of saying I'm not going anywhere. It's like I know why you're asking. I'm old. I'm not that old. As in, I'm not planning on retiring yet. All the guys you're talking about are older than me. Get off my ass. I'm planning on coaching. And look, I think Andy's general answer to anything related to either the past or the future. Where do you think you'll be 5 years from now, Andy? Or where do you think you were 5 years from now is, I'm worried about football literally this week against the Miami Dolphins. And I do not think that is something Andy says just to say it. I think Andy actually tries to operate and live his life under that regard. That the only thing that matters right now is how he is going to try to beat the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, and I think, as you said, he doesn't like to reflect yet. He's always said, like, I'll reflect one day. So that's just typically his mentality. By the way, it's a question that needed to be asked, though. It's the perfect time to ask the question, with all due respect to our friend Sean Barber, who's in our group text, thinking it wasn't a correct question. I'm sorry, it absolutely was. That's the question you have to ask. When other coaches around his age are retiring or stepping away. Yeah, it's a very fair question. And he knew it was, and he even acknowledged he knew it was coming. But yeah, I took that as of like, all right, I'm not thinking about it. I don't want to talk about it, but yeah, I'm not that old. Like, move along. Like, that's kind of how I took it. I'm locked into Saturday's game. That's kind of how I took it.
The Bills the best he's ever coached against, which I imagine every coach in the entire NFL would say.
How can that not be your answer if you're currently in the league?
Well, unless you're one of the guys that could maybe be considered better than him at some point, and that guy's Andy. So you can't say I'm the best I've ever coached against. That wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah. As far as Wanya in this game, look, he's been in concussion protocol. Saturday was going to be way too quick of a turnaround when you're in concussion protocol. Donovan Smith has practiced for numerous days in a row, and he's been out already for 5 weeks. I mean, he has to be the guy who steps up. It sounds like he will.
Yeah, they need
He's going to start left tackle. I mean, that a one-year veteran that you signed in the offseason. I understand he hadn't played great. He was also hurt. Wanya Morris is a rookie. He's going to struggle. I don't think it actually is a drop-off or anything. I think it's about the same, if not a little upgrade, actually, with Donovan Smith. We were talking Wanya long-term, how beneficial it could be if he was that guy. But for a playoff game, I actually think Donovan Smith is a better option, considering where things are at.
Honestly, I'd have been fine with either. I don't think that there's a tangible difference in the level of play at the moment. So like you said, sure, take the veteran versus
a healthy
the other.
Donovan Smith, I do think is better.
I will say this. I probably would have taken had been playing a lot more recently, Wanya, because he's going to be cold off the bench, hasn't played.
Everybody's going to be cold, my guy.
Yeah, 5 or 6 weeks. Speaking of which, by the way, we spent a lot of time talking about, there's a couple things to know about Arrowhead. One, they are going to have warming stations for you. 2, you can stand on cardboard again. It's back. 3, for as much as everyone was making a big deal about the weather here, the most recent weather report in Buffalo isn't looking good. This report from the National Weather Service, increasing likelihood of a chance of a strong band of lake effect snow could be near or over Orchard Park for the game on Sunday. Wind gusts to 40 miles an hour, creating possible whiteout conditions where this band sets up. High temperatures, 21 degrees. Make sure you're bundled up. So they could have, by the way, love this news from a weather report. If there's like a, hey, how do the Steelers stay in this game? Make it so that like nobody can do anything because the game has to end 6-3.
Yeah, I mean, it fits the Steelers mentality.
Please.
I just think not having TJ Watt, though, is also just
sure.
huge. Now, it is the lowest total of the week. Some of it is because the Steelers offense stinks, but some of it is the weather. 36.5 is the over-under for that game. It is by far the lowest. The Chiefs game has gone down, but it's still it's actually gone up a half point in the 24 hours, but it was 47, went to 43. It's now up to 44.5. But by far, the Pittsburgh and Buffalo game is the lowest, 36.5. Then it's the Eagles-Bucks game, and then it's the Chiefs game tied with the Browns and Texans game in terms of all of that. But yeah, the weather's not going to be great in Buffalo either, which is what you would suspect around this time of the year. There's more surprising probably for a lot of people is just that it's as cold as it's going to be in Kansas City on Saturday night.
Miserable.
It really, I mean, it
miserably cold.
It really is.
I think as Channing Crowder said to us at noon, I mean, it's just like, nah, man, it's cold. And then him telling the story of 2008 of Joey Porter being like, we're men. We're not wearing shirts. And then they were out there for 15 seconds. He's like, we should probably get our coats. You're like, yeah, man.
My guess still is that Tyreek Hill runs out of during like early warm-ups, runs out shirtless because that's just Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, okay, so you said, Travis, let's go out there right now. My bad. Travis Kelce at the podium.
Just what's your approach to playoffs this year with everything that has been going on this season?
Excited, man. Excited to get out there. I know we got a big challenge with Miami coming in, and sure enough, who doesn't love playoff football at Arrowhead, baby?
You growing a playoff beard out?
I've been growing this thing out for a while now. See how far I can take it, man.
Travis, what did resting last week do for you?
Say it again?
What did resting last week do for you?
I just feel like, especially it being a short week, being able to get out here and put some good work in with the guys. And I felt like we, as a collective unit, we came in and put in a great week of work.
I wonder if you could take us back through the conversation to not play last week. Coach said it was up to you, really, to try to get those 16 yards or whatever.
At the end of the day, I just didn't care enough about it. I felt like I could get some rest and let the guys go out there and just play the game instead of worrying about getting this old guy 16 yards, man. It just never felt right, man.
You have talked for several years now about legacy and stuff like that. But you're talking more about team legacy, Super Bowls, than legacy like 1,000.
Yeah, those, yeah. I mean, I think without a doubt, I'm thinking more Super Bowls when I talk legacy, and just having that desire to be a certain type of teammate day in, day out, and channeling that right mindset for sure.
Travis, when you played Miami and Germany, what can you take from that game? How different are these two teams as they battle for a
Well, first thing is that they have a really good secondary. I think that's one of their best secondaries in the league. That being said, Fangio's got them playing very good as a collective unit. They fly around, they play physical football. And with that being said, we got to be able to control the line of scrimmage and make third downs a lot easier with good plays and good movement on first and second.
Travis, I know this isn't front of your mind now, but a month and a half ago you had an interview where you mentioned that you think about retirement. Just wondering if you've made a decision.
Do you guys think about retirement? Am I the only one in this boat?
No.
Is anybody else in this thing? All right. Whoever's not thinking about stuff down the road, I blame you. I think it's just I have no reason to stop playing football, man. I love it. We still have success. Come in with the right mindset, and I just love the challenge that it gives me every single day to try and be at my best. And like I said, I have no desire to stop anytime soon.
But you said you thought about it. What would you do if you weren't playing football?
That's the point. The off season, being able to get out there and really find what you love to do. And I've been fortunate to do a few things outside of the sports world that I've been enjoying doing, like getting on camera. The SNL stuff kind of opened up a new happiness and a new maybe a new career path for me. But it's it's funny for me to even say that at this point in my career because I think it's so much further down the road than it is right now.
Travis, when you get a break like you did last week, you have had so much attention from all the defenses. They play you physical, they try to disrupt everything, you're the main guy. Did you get any perspective on maybe a way to, I don't know, handle that kind of attention, or what you can do to kind of somehow, kind of free up a little bit when you're looking at videos?
There's still ways to impact the game, and that's in the run game being able to be a good blocker, in the pass game running my routes accordingly to get other guys open if it's possible. Getting a lot of attention, you can free up a lot of guys, and I think that's the biggest thing is you're still finding ways to help out the team, even if they are quote unquote taking you away. But yeah, love the challenge.
I apologize, Travis. In your 11 years in the league now, between the hyperextended knee in week one and just the little nicks and dings that go in throughout the year and the challenges with the offense, has this been the most challenging year for you, maybe?
Man, I would have to go down the list year by year, but I've enjoyed the challenge of this year. Obviously, not the same success, but it's a different journey, and you just got to appreciate every journey as they come along, man.
What about this challenge have you enjoyed?
It's like I said, it's just new. It's new. It's a new feel. It's a new challenge to find ways to get open. It's a new challenge to find ways to get wins. I think I went up to Menahu after one game or during one game and said, man, we just got to become a team that just grinds these games out, man. It's not the same NFL as it was for us a few years ago, and for whatever reason, when it comes down to third, fourth quarter, we just got to be able to grind it out as a team, and I think everybody understands that.
At what point have y'all understood that, the points just are not going to come as much as like they used to?
I think you're always trying to challenge yourself to have that, to get back to that success, because those are the expectations you set for yourself, right? So it's not just accepting it. It's still trying to get to those goals, but at the same time, understand situational football towards the end of games and be there when your team needs you the most.
What's the key to locking in on the playoffs? I mean, you feel the difference in the air right now.
At this point in the year, you just know you got a special team. You've gone through the ups and downs of the season. You find yourself sitting in the playoffs, and anything can happen in the dance.
Couple more.
You have so much playoff experience yourself, and even your young guys have a lot of playoff experience because you won the Super Bowl last year. How important is that, and can you maybe remember what it was like your very first playoff game? There wasn't a lot of people on this team who had playoff experience at that point.
I mean, it's just going to be really fast. It is what it is. The playoffs are that much faster, and it kind of gradually goes steps as you go along in the playoffs, and you got to practice that much harder. It's not necessarily that you're practicing harder. You're just practicing with that much more focus on the little things, and it's because things happen faster in the playoffs, and it can be overwhelming. But at the same time, I think that's why you got good leaders, guys that have been there, and we've been fortunate to have those guys.
The experience is valuable, though?
Oh, yeah. I mean, guys are just flying around. They don't know what they don't know, baby.
We'll close it out with Adam and then Nate.
Travis, you talked a minute ago about how this has been a different kind of journey for you guys,
Mhm.
trying to find different ways to get the job done. Has that had an effect on Pat, you think, one way or the other?
I mean, we're all growing in this thing together. It is, I think Coach Reed, even over the course of his career, he's had some ups and downs, but understands, what it takes to get there. And so you latch onto those leaders and you take advice when you can and just roll with the punches, because we all are still kind of learning in this thing together. Every single season is going to be different, and you got to accept it.
Travis, I know you obviously had a moment with Tyreek after the game in Germany. Just how much have you thought about having time during Saturday's game to watch what he's like to perform in Arrowhead for the first time as an opponent?
You know what? I expect KC to give him nothing but love until he's putting up the peace sign or something like that. Then he might hear a few boos. But who he was for this community is it speaks volumes. Every single kid's camp he had, he made it his effort to go out and shake those hands and give those kids an experience they'll never have again. And, that's why Tyreek is loved in this city, and he'll forever be loved in this city because of who he was off the field in this community as well, man. So it's gonna be electric just to see him, man. He's always one of the best football players in the league when he's on the field. So.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, that was Travis Kelce. A lot there from Travis. I think most notably asked about his future a little bit, and because he did have an article a month or so ago where he was quoted saying, hey, I think about retirement all the time. And then Travis kind of joked. He's like, well, don't you guys all think about retirement?
I don't. I may never get to retire, Travis, but I think most people do.
I think it's a little bit, I mean, hey, if you got like 30 mil in the bank, I think you can think about retirement a little bit quicker. But he said, quote, I have no reason to stop playing football. I have no desire to stop anytime soon. Now, I'm not saying anybody's ever said that and not changed their mind, but that's pretty damn definitive, especially if you hear the audio of him, like we all did a second ago, or a couple minutes ago. That was pretty definitive to kind of squash some of the rumors.
Yeah, I would think so. If you had any thought, like, what if Travis won the Super Bowl and, he just wanted to, like, go overseas and hang out with Taylor, which no one would blame him. Take your tens of millions of dollars, go kick it in, like, foreign countries with your incredibly famous girlfriend. Nobody would blame you. But, I mean, listen to the way he talked about it. It's not just a joke. He's like, don't you think about retirement? Like you said. But then he's like, I love it. I have no desire to stop doing this thing. Like, he is motivated to keep playing football. I don't care if it's to get Tony's record for receiving yardage, even though he didn't care about the 16 yards in the final game, or if it's just to keep playing. And honestly, and I've told you my stance on
keep adding rings, man. That's what it is, too.
How good I think Travis Kelce can remain even into his older age. And I know that this was a bigger, challenging season going forward, but I still think that Travis has this and better in him from what I saw this year. And it's good to hear him say it.
Yeah, I don't know about better.
Better than this year is what I'm saying.
Okay. I mean, okay. Yeah, I mean, look, that's the debate, right, of the offseason. We'll have plenty of time to talk about. Will be, okay, if he is back in the future, can you count on the same production when he's 35 or when he's 34? Right? That's the debate. That's a decision that the Chiefs are going to have to be very smart about, right? Obviously, he's part of the future if he decides to continue to himself be part of the future that is playing football. But if there is a point, can you go into a season counting on 1,000? Or is it, hey, another great tight end season, but it's a 750 or 800? Yeah. Nobody's saying that's terrible, but that means you better fix the wide receiver spot if all of a sudden that happens. That's an off-season conversation. I don't want to get too far down that road, but it is
make his life a little easier.
The way he said it, that was pretty strong in terms of. Did you think he was retiring after this game or something if they were to lose?
Both him and Andy. I mean, both asked about the early retirement. He's like, I know you're asking because I'm old. I'm not that old. And then Travis is like, I have no reason to not keep playing football. This is what I love to do. Like, he's got 2 years left on his deal. I think when that is coming up, have a conversation. Or realistically, maybe even after next year when he's got 1 year left on his deal. And if he wants to play beyond that, that would be about the time you would be talking extension with the Kansas City Chiefs. Because I will say this. We talk about players leaving all the time. I don't think Travis playing anywhere but here.
I agree.
I mean, I would say that about very few players. I'm more confident Travis is never not playing here than Mahomes.
Sure.
On the off chance he's like 42 years old and picks up like Tom Brady or whatever.
Look how it's ended for Rodgers and Brady and Russell Wilson and these other older quarterbacks. So, I mean, there's definitely more gray area on Mahomes 10 years from now, 15 years from now.
I'm pretty sure he's playing his entire career here too. But
I'm with you on Kelce. Like, he's retiring whenever it is as a Chief, whether it's a year from now or 3 or 4 years from now or 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like he will retire as a Chief. As far as dollar amounts, if you're wondering, cap hit next year for Travis, $15 million. Remember they restructured some stuff a couple years ago. $19 million when he's 36 in 2025. Hopefully that is a dollar amount at that point. We're like, oh yeah, totally still worth it.
I mean, tight ends are still underpaid. So if he's still a 900-yard receiver, it's cheap.
Yeah, we'll see how things stand at that point in
1,000-yard receiver, it's cheap.
Coming up next, we had a chance to check in with our guy, Danon Hughes, a little bit earlier today. He, of course, will be on the call. He also played in plenty of cold weather games, perhaps a game in the 90s against the Colts that some of you may remember. We'll get into that and what he makes of Tyreek Hill's return.
You're listening to Cody and Gold. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every weekday starting at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Outdoor America with Tommy Bench, Saturday mornings on 610 Sports Radio at 5 a.m. and the Odyssey app. This week, Tommy answers your questions. Outdoor America, presented by Wholesale Batteries, the right battery the first time.
Get the home field advantage every time with Fairfield by Marriott, official hotel partner of the NCAA. Whether you're a student athlete working toward your championship dreams or your team's biggest fan, Fairfield by Marriott has everything you need to get ready for game day. From comfortable guest rooms to complimentary hot breakfast, Fairfield is part of the Marriott Bonvoy portfolio of hotels and official hotel partner of the NCAA. Visit fairfield.marriott.com to book your next game day stay.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Last year, other dealers were charging up to $10,000 over MSRP, but those cars haven't held their value. I'm Jeff Davis, owner of Volkswagen Lease Summit. If your car is worth a lot less money than you bought it for, exchange it.
Is your car payment too much? Exchange it. Is your interest rate too high? Exchange it. Want a lower price? You guessed it. Exchange your vehicle at Volkswagen Lease Summit today. We're offering rates as low as 2.99% APR, low leases, and thousands off MSRP. Come and see us or visit VWLeaseSummit.com.
Financing through VCI on approved credit.
Old Shawnee Pizza has expanded to the Crossroads with their OSP Express. Go to ospexp.com to order and use any third-party delivery system located in the Crossroads or stop in 16th and Campbell. Go to ospexp.com to order. Old Shawnee Pizza, now with 3 locations.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has green-lighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify by dialing 800-210-1005. If you or your business owe at least $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Call Tax Help USA to get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-210-1005. 800-210-1005. 800-210-1005.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text Sizzle to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text SIZZLE to 42424. That's Sizzle to 42424.
Before I met these lawyers, I was kind of spinning my wheels. After I met these lawyers, they gave me a sense of worth, self-worth. When someone's fighting for you, it just makes you feel like you're not alone no more. My lawyer gave me my life back.
Visit MissouriLawyersHelp.org to learn more. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Brought to you by the Missouri Bar.
It's a new year, and Trailside RV Center on I-70 in Green Valley has the Jayco RV of your dreams. Trade-in values are high, and the 2024 financing rates say it's time to buy at Trailside RV. Go to trailsiderv.com and check out our prices now.
This week, raise a glass to your home team's Tully touchdown with Tullamore Dew, the original triple blended, triple distilled, smooth sipping Irish whiskey. When it's game time, it's Tully time. Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, imported by William Grant & Sons Incorporated, New York, New York.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional grade supplies for every industry, even hard to find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, is this line secure?
Franco's cybersecurity firm secured a contract, and that's all we're allowed to say.
We have a green light on hiring.
He needs web security professionals with a military background.
3 teams of 4, 24-hour rotations, but Protocol Zulu is on a need-to-know basis.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard, so you can stay organized and connected all the way to the hire. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
I know a lot of you really want the State Farm Personal Price Plan, but what's with the oversharing? Like this voicemail from Leah.
Jake from State Farm. Listen, so sometimes I like to nibble on licorice and pretend I'm a teeny mouse, chewing through wires.
You don't need to get that personal. The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by Renner Garage Door. Forward and back. RENNER.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Renner Garage Doors, servicing and installing garage doors in KC for over 60 years. Family owned and top rated. Residential, commercial, service, and repairs. RENNER, forward and back. Renner, the company that does garage doors. RennerDoor.com.
Back here on Cody and Gold. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Thursday. Tomorrow, Red Friday in Kansas City. Playoff edition. We got our 3rd annual Playoff Pilsner Beer Release Party out at Cinder Block Brewery. Starts at 6 p.m. You also have an opportunity to take some to-go cans, right? Basically, or some cans of the same Il Padron Pilsner for those of you that maybe just got to pop in for a little bit. Maybe you can't stay. You're on the way home. That's another option. But we'd love to have you out there tomorrow. Dusty's going to be doing his after-hours show live on the air, and a lot of times we end up hopping on the show with him as well, and the entire 610 crew's going to be out there. Maybe some of you haven't had a chance to meet Drew before. He'll be out there. We'll all be out there. It's going to be a ton of fun. The night before, the Chiefs hopefully kick off a little long, unexpected nationally playoff run.
Plus, Carrington's promising left, right, center, apparently to the entire audience.
I still don't know how that's going to play out, but I'm sure we'll go with it.
I think he's got the wrong game.
Yeah.
I've got a gambling dreidel. It just spins on the table, and we can throw the ones in that way. Left, right, center's a little more complicated.
He's also been in this before. I don't know how feasible this will. This usually is a packed event, and we're constantly, obviously, talking to people. I don't know how you're just going to get like 12 people in one spot to do this without having a bunch of other. Anyway, we'll see how it plays out. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to meeting some of you. Some of you
like
that we've met before. Yeah, I hate to gamble. I just hate it. So we'll have some fun tomorrow night. All right. Earlier we caught up with our guy Danon Hughes. He of course will be at Arrowhead. Nice and warm, though, Danon Hughes at Arrowhead in the broadcast booth while our guy Josh Klingler is on the sidelines. We'll be listening, but we started our conversation joking with Danon about the weather.
Yes, we will be warm in the confines, the closed confines of the radio booth at Arrowhead Stadium. So, yeah, we feel for Kling. We'll be praying for him, but I do not envy him at all.
What's the coldest game you played in? I mean, you played in Kansas City for starters, and you played in you were around the Midwest your whole playing career.
Yeah, I played against the Colts in '96 in that playoff game, which was freezing. The coldest game I've been to was actually the AFC Championship when we played Tom Brady and the Patriots. I thought that was a freezing day just to be there doing the pregame and postgame shows. But from a playing standpoint, playing against the Colts in that playoff game in '96 was as cold as I could remember, yes.
And it's supposed to be colder, of course, this Saturday. Actually, the reference I made on Twitter, which actually feels right, Danon, for this is they're letting fans bring in cardboard. They had kind of stopped doing that, but it's going to be so cold they're going to let them bring in cardboard. And essentially the Chiefs are playing Marty Ball offense. We're back in the 90s.
Yeah, we're going to have a little flashback to 3 yards in a cloud of snow, I guess you could say. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think this is one of those games where the toughness is going to prevail. Who's going to be tougher? Who's going to allow the elements to affect them, their catching, their running, their tackling? The tackling part is the key. I was talking with some people earlier this week, and I said, you go back and look at film. I know our buddy Sean Barber always likes to watch the All-22, and Binkley does too. But if you go back and watch games in September, and this is yearly. This is in every level, college, high school, pro level, et cetera. Go back and watch early season games and then go back and watch late season games. Same season, same guys, and you just see different techniques. Not that they're doing it on purpose, but the weather affects you subconsciously. Do you wrap up in your tackling, or do you just try to shoot your body through a ball carrier? Do you hold the ball tighter, and then that makes you less shifty when you're running the ball than when it's warm out? Do you catch the ball with your hands when it's warm out, and now you catch it with your body? So it's kind of one of those deals where it's mind over matter, that you just have to go out there and play and not try to think about the elements, but they are a factor. And to me, the team that's going to be tougher within those elements is going to be the winning team.
That's, I think, why Alex and I are growing maybe concerningly confident, weirdly enough, for Saturday, is that they don't have anyone left on their defensive line. The Chiefs have proven to be a better running team, I feel like, lately from an offensive line perspective than even maybe in pass protection. And it's not like that's been a physical team at any point this year on defense. So, like, to me, it's like at some stage, I do start to think that the Chiefs have the decided advantage based on all the things you're saying, Danon.
Well, I think there's always an advantage when we're playing at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium. It still reigns true. Even back when I played, we thought the other team was down 7-0 before the kickoff, just because of the atmosphere, because of the fans, because of the involvement, because of the noise, all of that. But then when you amp it up into the playoff mode and our successes here in Kansas City, you're putting a lot of pressure on any opponent that comes in. Now, with that being said, I will say, even if you want to contend that the Dolphins aren't as physical, they do have a track team of guys that if you break a tackle, if you lose containment, which we saw a little bit of that last week, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's going to be a guy that can turn the corner and take it to the house. If you let a jet sweep with Tyreek Hill go, or if you have Mostert, if he's back and he's able to get to the edge, now it's him running on the hard turf or the cold turf with you chasing him, and who's going to be the guy that's going to run faster in that circumstance. So, there is a component of who's tougher, but I feel like you have to be disciplined, and discipline starts between your ears in these type of elements. And it's going to be cold for both teams. It's going to be cold for the coaches. You got communication, play calling, the helmets, what you're hearing inside the helmets, the crowd noise and how that affects everything. Deep passing. Are you going to take some chances downfield and throw the ball downfield, or are you going to try to nickel and dime down the field to have ball control? So all of those factors come into play. It's good that we're able to practice within the elements. The Chiefs were out at practice outside yesterday. Don't think they're going to go outside every day, but to experience that on a short week for both teams, I like our chances. I think we'll be the tougher team. It's just a matter of execution in the game.
How big do you think it is, though, like a player, Travis Kelce, got that extra rest last week? I know he wasn't the only one, but I think we all could recognize, given his age, and just he seemed like he's been beat up a lot the last year, and this has also probably just been a very frustrating season on top of it. I feel like I'm excited to see what could be a fresh and healthy Travis Kelce on Saturday, too.
Oh, absolutely, because it's one thing to have the extra rest, guys, but it's the other thing of not getting dinged up in that last game, not having a twisted ankle or a stubbed toe or anything that, even though if you were Travis Kelce, you might have played a couple of series, maybe one series to get your marker 1,000-yard season over. Who would know what would happen during the warm-ups, during that series? So it's not just about, okay, well, he got an extra week of rest because he practiced every day last week. He practiced every day this week. So he didn't technically get a full week rest. What he did get is an opportunity, or one less opportunity, for people to be banging on him. And that can bode well in this circumstance. But again, I don't think the rest factor is as big as the weather factor. Like, playing in that is different. When guys are huddled up by the heaters or sitting on the bench to stay warm, you may not have as much communication on the sideline. Guys are focused on, in their own little bubble as far as staying warm and what their tasks are. But is there communication going on the sideline where you're preparing for the next series, you're preparing for something maybe you saw and got a glimpse of early in the game? Or is it just about self-preservation? So, it's so many different factors that go into what you're doing on the field. The coaches, are you going to be interacting with the players as much, or are you going to be trying to keep yourself warm on the sideline? Is the energy going to be the same on the sideline when you're going on and off the field, the communication and packages? We know that the Chiefs team, we like to rotate a lot of bodies in different defensive formations, different guys. Chris Jones moving to outside from inside, Derek Nottie being on the inside, but then you bring in Tershawn Wharton and Mike Dana. You move him over to the nose guard. Last week we saw George Karlaftis over the nose guard in different packages. All of that happening when you're talking about 2 degrees or maybe even negative degrees during the game at night. Those are the things I'm concerned about as opposed to the rest that we had last week.
Speaking of former Chiefs wide receiver, current color analyst Danon Hughes here on Cody and Gold. Danon, you were on the Chiefs when Neil Smith made his return to Kansas City as a member of the Denver Broncos. So you've got some unique experience or perspective on this, on what it'll be like when Tyreek Hill returns to Kansas City. A little bit of a difference. Neil Smith winning one championship with a different team. Tyreek Hill won one here, and then they won one without him. What do you think it'll be like for Tyreek on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it'll be different. Neil, at that time that he returned, he had not won the first Super Bowl yet. We had actually beat them on Stoyanovic's last-second field goal, and there's a video of him pacing up and down the sideline upset, which was fun for us. But for Tyreek, it's different because of social media and all the chatter that he's participated in and some of the digs and jabs that he's thrown at the organization since he's left, and talking about Tua being better than Patrick Mahomes or being more accurate and just those little slights. I feel like it's very similar to more similar to Jamar Chase than it is to Neil Smith, because Jamar was challenging our defense. Even the mic'd up comments that he made in Germany right before he fumbled and we had the scoop and score by Brian Cook. That's a different dynamic for our defense, and the challenge of, you don't want that guy who's going to go down as an icon in Kansas City history, even though he left. You don't want that guy to get off in this game on this turf. I was part of the program. I wouldn't say I was part of the broadcast, the pregame and postgame show, with one of the most electric times that I had been at Arrowhead Stadium when we were playing the Raiders. I want to say it was Monday night or Sunday night, and the crowd was chanting Tyreek's name prior to a punt return.
Yeah.
And he took it to the house, and the place erupted. First, I had never heard, even during the Dante Hall and Tamarick Vanover era, I never heard I never heard the fans chant one guy's name that loud, all together. And the fact that he was able to take it to the house just tells you what kind of electric player he can be. And these guys don't want that. We don't want to hear the boos because he made a big play. We want to hear the boos because he made a mistake, like he did in Germany. So it's important for him, I'm sure. I'm sure he would have liked it to be in a warmer time. But fact remains is this is where we stand right now. We got to stop him.
We're talking to Danon Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver. He'll be part of the broadcast on Saturday night over on 106.5 The Wolf. Huge news in the last 24, 48 hours just in coaching world. And whether it was initially Mike Vrabel getting fired, then it's Pete Carroll, then it's Nick Saban retiring from college football. Bill Belichick is in part ways today in a presser in about 15 minutes, although it looks like he's going to coach again. Is this specifically with Nick Saban just, hey, new era, NIL, all this, and maybe a guy's just tired of change? Or do you think there's, I guess, more of a theme going on here across the board?
I think there's a mixture. I was surprised. I mean, I think, what did we say, maybe a couple of years ago, Dabo Swinney was supposed to be the one that was retiring because, he didn't want to have NIL be a factor and God forbid players being able to utilize their their presence and popularity to gain any kind of money. So it's interesting to see that he's still coaching, but from perspective with Nick Saban and those guys, I just feel like there's times where you recognize that the game may be moving past you, not necessarily the X's and O's, but everything that's encompassed, the recruiting, the re-recruiting, the transfer portal. You're going into living rooms and making promises that a lot of times I don't think these coaches really believe. I know that one of the more valued aspects of my existence and commitment to the University of Iowa was because Hayden Fry came in my living room and promised me, my parents, that he would give me an opportunity as a student athlete at the University of Iowa and to play baseball. And to think that there are some kids now, a lot of kids, that are getting that same speech, and then the coaches leave and know that they won't be able to live up to that because they could be recruiting a transfer guy to come in. You're talking about top quarterbacks, top position players, and you know in the back of your mind that you have other quarterbacks proven at different programs that are willing to come to you. But I have to do all that and juggle all that, being older than 70 years old and dealing with all the extras, and then now seeing some more parity at the college level. I just think that the game just passes guys, and you realize there's more to life than juggling all that is encompassed in college football. So props to them. They accomplish a lot. He'll go down as the greatest or one of the greatest college coaches ever. But, I'm not totally surprised in this day and age that those guys are turning away from their long-lasting career.
Dane and Hughes, players only tonight, right?
Yes, sir. We'll be in. Have Kendall Gammon in there with me, so another special teams guy. So we'll be able to chat up some Chiefs and hopefully move towards a win this Saturday.
That's exactly right. Yeah, hopefully we're talking about a divisional round, maybe showdown with the Bills next week with you. That'd be a lot of fun. So appreciate it. Stay warm this weekend.
We're actually going to say Bills lose.
Hey,
and
I
let's
love
have
that.
another game at GEHA Field. How about that?
Sign me up.
And then the Browns can beat the Ravens, and we can have 3. It sounds fun. It sounds great.
There you go. I like that. I like that recipe. We're going against the chalk.
There you go. So that was Dayton earlier today. And yes, obviously, if the Steelers beat the Bills, the Steelers would go to Baltimore. I get that. I know we said that Cleveland, but still, the point remains the same. If the Bills lose, it'd be amazing. It'd be amazing because then the Chiefs wouldn't have to go to Buffalo.
Possible snowstorm there give you any more confidence?
No.
Come on, dude. That always keeps it a little closer, doesn't it?
Look, Mike Tomlin's a hell of a coach. I could see for a little while that the game is close, but I don't know if we'll ever be watching. I don't know if we'll ever be watching the Bills-Steelers game and truly think the Steelers can win. I could see it being like first half, and it's
14-10
or 10-3.
10-3.
It could be 10-3, but we're all like, wow, they just still don't have enough on offense against Buffalo. And yeah, if the weather makes, trust me, I would love for Mike Tomlin to shock the world and upset the Bills. It would be so good, not only for the Chiefs, but just in general. Like, I'll be honest, I don't really like the Bills, so it would be great for that. A lot of it.
Of course.
Yeah.
I don't hate the Bills as much as I hate the Bengals. We didn't even talk about Jamar Chase today.
Oh, yeah.
We had it in the rundown. We didn't get to Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase clearly
did you hear what he said?
Thinking about
the Chiefs.
Thinking about the
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Who's going to the Super Bowl? An AFC, NFC team?
Anybody but the Chiefs.
Anybody.
In his
look, it's fun for the rivalry. I love it. But also, he can't help himself. The Chiefs are always on that dude's mind. Always in his mind. They own real estate in his mind.
To be fair.
Free real estate.
To be fair.
They're putting up condos,
the
man.
Sports Center anchor said, are you going to be who are you going to be cheering for? They're like, we know your rivalry with the Chiefs. Are you going to be cheering for anybody in the playoffs? So she referenced
He could have said, I'm not going to be rooting for anybody. But he said specifically, not the Chiefs.
I will say
it's fun. Again, I appreciate the personality of Jamar Chase. Doesn't mean we can't be critical of it, but he is fun. I also think, look, the reaction's always going to be the reaction. When you run your mouth and then you lose, yeah, you're going to have to pay. People are going to clap back.
And there's 3 division rivals. Not like there's one. There's 3 division rivals in there. He didn't even say not the Browns.
He's like, not the Ravens.
T. Higgins picked the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl.
I know.
And they're all like, nah, not the Chiefs. We're not doing that game.
Did you guys notice in the video, because T. Higgins played with Cornell Powell at Clemson, there is a Chiefs jersey in the background of T. Higgins' video. It's a framed Cornell Powell jersey. They were teammates. It's funny because Cornell Powell obviously hasn't done anything here in Kansas City at all. If anything, he's been a complete bust. But he's friends and teammates, or was teammates with Cornell Powell. It's funny to see a Chiefs jersey behind future Chief T. Higgins.
That was interesting.
Future Chief.
Yeah.
Future Chief. I hope you're right.
T's not rooting for the Chiefs either this weekend. So let's.
He didn't say he wasn't rooting for the Chiefs.
He said, I'm not rooting. He said, I'm not rooting for them. They beat us, and I don't know, so something along those lines.
But
I'm not rooting for the team.
He didn't say
that won.
anything but the Chiefs like Jamar did. He said, I think the Ravens are going to win, and he left it at that.
Yeah.
Again, it's living freely in that man's head.
I am not going out on a limb by saying Jamar Chase will never wear a Chiefs uniform, and that is it's just the way it's going to go.
Oh, well, Jamar Chase is not wearing a Chiefs uniform. T. Higgins maybe does.
If he's 35 and old and the Chiefs want to sign him, Jamar Chase.
Well, that's not Jamar Chase.
Oh, I know.
Nobody thinks Jamar Chase is coming here, dude. That's like me saying that Justin Jefferson or any of these guys. Nobody thinks
I never
those
said
guys
that.
are
I'm
coming
saying
here.
if he's 35 and old and he still wants to play and the Chiefs say, hey, do you want to play with us or you retire? He says, I'm retired. Like, Jamar will retire. That's how much he hates the Chiefs.
Sure. I mean, yes. I just don't think that we have to worry about
T does not have those same feelings, I don't think.
Right. He's a smart guy. T.
T is also a pending free agent, so he's not going to start going out bashing people on the hypothetical that it would be there.
Correct. Jamar knows he's going to be in Cincinnati for sure. T, on the other hand, said he wanted to be back. Joe apparently navigated his contract to the point where they could keep all of them.
That's what Joe's claiming.
Joe
claimed that about Chris Jones once, and he's not going to be here much longer.
Joe also said, as a matter of fact, that he doesn't know what life would be like without T. Higgins. So I think it's the expectation.
An already hurt ex.
It's the expectation.
I don't know what life's even going to be like.
That he comes back.
Pat didn't even say that when Tyreek Hill left.
I know.
He definitely did not say that. He still had his guy Travis Kelce.
Which makes me think they're going to pony up and they're going to tag him because I don't think they have the money to pay him long term. They tag him one more year. And if they happen to be struggling for whatever reason, they'll trade him.
Okay.
Or they'll just ride it out, I guess, and then he'll become a free agent because I don't think anybody would trade for a tagged player, I guess, in that regard.
I don't think so necessarily either. I think especially his price.
Yeah, unless they needed to make a Super Bowl run or whatever and they wanted to.
Tag on wide receiver has gotten
$21.6 million, I think, is the estimated.
It's a little pricey.
Look, no wide receiver is cheap, but $21 million, I mean, that feels like it's more than T. Higgins would get on the open market if an available free agent. Why would they tag him if that's less than his market value? That's a dangerous game to be playing.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. I mean, the T. Higgins wide receiver free agency conversation, I want T. Higgins here. I think this year, I wonder, did he lose money at all by not being healthy? You know what I mean? Like, did he cost himself some money by being a little banged up? I don't know. Time will tell, obviously, as we get to the new league year, which is still a month and a half plus away. All right, we're back at it tomorrow. Red Friday show, Club 610 Friday, getting set for the playoffs. Jay Binkley will be in studio with us. Pete Sweeney's going to join us. James Palmer from NFL Network. We're loaded up for a playoff Red Friday tomorrow right here on Cody and Gold. For now, though, we hand things off to our guys, Rob Brennan and CDOT right here on 610 Sports Radio.